Huh?
And we're live.
And then there was 3 again.
And then there was 3.
We'd like to welcome our guest here.
Straight out of rehab, bitches. What's up, guys? How's it been, man?
What's up?
been
Thank
a
you
while.
for joining us again. Another episode of Thinking Out Loud. I'm Soup.
Vic.
And Les, the main man.
We're back, baby. We're back, man. It's been a while, guys. How's everything's good?
It's been good. Been good.
Yeah.
We tried to go on without you. We even bought a new studio and everything.
God damn it, man.
Couldn't do it.
I know. I saw that. I tried.
to go on without you. We even bought a new studio and everything.
God damn it.
Well, we
I tried to message and then I fell asleep.
we were set up on time.
Yeah, fuck if you guys would start at 8:30. No, I kept trying to make like little fucking jokes, and I guess the stream is slow, so I was like, "Hey man, Les's place is swimming with pussy because the cats were jumping in the back," and I'm like, "What does that guy own more cats than a lesbian?"
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And then right after, I was like, fuck, I'm going to bed.
That's now we know how our followers.
Yeah,
actually feel.
now I know how it feels to be on the other end. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what's up, guys? How's everything going? Everything's been good?
Good. Yeah. Really good. Really
man,
good.
Yeah. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Well, I'm back finally. I had to
good.
take a little bit of a hiatus.
We needed you.
Doing some shit, man. Going through some stuff. So, yeah, man.
Get it figured out. That's all I gotta do.
Starting to, anyways. Took a little bit of a mental health spill there for a little bit, but glad to report mental health is getting stronger every day, as I am. Trying to better myself. Be better, quicker, faster, stronger. What's the song?
Yeah, it's a good song. Better, quicker,
But yeah, man,
faster,
that's
stronger.
pretty much it.
Yeah, that's good.
What about you guys? How was your week? How was the last couple weeks, man? We haven't talked in a while, guys.
Yeah.
Nothing actually. All
All right, well, thanks, guys. That's been Thinking Out Loud. We'll see you next week. Oh man, it was funner before, man.
Yeah, it was. You know what? Last time we did a podcast and it was a week you missed, whatever, we got into some pretty good conversations. Pretty fun. Shot it at my house instead.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, I guess.
Yeah, I tuned in. I tuned in a little bit. I had to kind of keep my distance for a little bit, but
Yeah.
today's another day, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little.
Yeah. well,
Actually, I since the last time we were talking about Graham Hancock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched like I
This guy,
probably watched like
anything
5
that
or
has to do with cock, man.
Cut him off. Yeah,
Come on again. We just talked about
Hey,
this.
listen. It's my first one. I just got back. I get one swing and a miss. Fuck you.
Anyways, yeah, I watched about 4 of his talks, 3 or 4 of his things on when he was on Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
and then I read both his books. Not bad.
Yeah, fuck it. You read both the books?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are they? Like picture books?
Pop-ups.
No, you watched some of the podcasts though?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Was that the one that we were talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah, no, it's what did you find? Did you think it was interesting or did you think
Oh
it was
yeah,
kind of bullshit? Or?
No, that's kind of what we were kind of hitting on last time. Where I was talking about like maybe there was a society that is as advanced as we were, but they just got wiped the fuck out, like literally everything, right?
Yeah, I've talked to Les about this. Like, I feel like that's kind of the cycle of humanity. We get to a certain point. And then everything resets. Like, either we consume all the resources and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden there's a reset. The world hits a reset button. Like, for right now, everybody's worried about this global warming shit, right?
Yeah.
People are constantly worried about global warming, and they're like, "Oh, the planet can't survive." Don't worry, the planet is going to be completely fine.
The planet will survive.
A million years after the last humans died, this whole planet will restart itself, and it'll be beautiful again.
Yeah, I don't think that we're gonna fuck up the planet.
We're not going to survive in the current state that we're fucking
That's the problem.
humans are going to be extinct, not the planet.
That's right.
Right?
The planet will still be here long
Yeah.
after. So will the sun. So will the solar system.
Exactly. So that's the thing, and I feel like that's kind of what happens is that every once in a while there's a reset.
You know what's one thing I was watching today was what's his name? Neil Tyson deGrasse.
Neil deGrasse Tyson,
That's it. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
astrophysicist.
That's right. Yeah, and he's he makes a lot of good points. He has a series on Netflix too where he goes over. There's one like the first, I think it's the opening episode where he's going over basically breaking down solar systems, galaxies, and like how many there are and how many stars there are, and he basically zooms out. So this is our solar system. You are here. And he's this is your galaxy. You are here. And then he goes into all the galaxies. Like this is here. Then he goes all into
This is the known universe.
Then
Known universe.
That's right. Known universe. And it's like how small you feel after you watching it.
Yeah,
It's like
you're
you
such
feel
a-
like this.
You're
like
just a speck, man.
It's bizarre.
I was watching this thing on black holes. Not the porn that you usually watch. Dude.
I was like, where are you going with this?
No, and they're saying that. So there's this black hole that you know how they spin, and there's one that the inside plate does this, and what's causing that wobble is the black hole itself warping the time space around it.
Yeah.
So that is theoretically the way that people can time travel.
Yeah.
Because of essentially it's the first time they're able to see the ability of something in the universe to warp time.
To manipulate the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this thing is literally warping the time around it, which is what's causing this wobble. It's literally wobbling on the space time.
That's interesting.
So it's
super cool.
fucking interesting, right?
Yeah,
Like
super
you think
cool.
about it, I think they were saying that it's one of the major leaps towards time travel.
It's interesting. Yeah, I know. That was one thing he was saying too. Tyson, right? Tyson Neil deGrasse.
Neil deGrasse.
Yeah, so he was saying that if you put in perspective, like even if we could travel the speed of light, it would take something like 100. Was it 70,000 or 100,000 years to get to the next closest star, even if you could travel by light? So he's like, you guys got to write off the possibility of traveling by spaceship to see other life forms. Just for that, it's gonna have to be time travel through wormholes. Or
Well, there was there's a Nazi thing that they were theoretically possible for them to build an engine that would drive. So the trick was to get propulsion as close to the speed of light as possible.
Yeah.
And then in the front shrink space-time.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's what warp drive is. Warp drive isn't you barreling through; it's compressing space-time so that you get closer faster.
That's interesting, but that still doesn't change time here.
No, but what happens is that instead of traveling, let's say if you could travel at the speed of light, instead of it being 1,000,000 years, you'd be able to shrink the space in front of you.
Yeah, so you on a ship would get there, and
Would
you
get
wouldn't
there.
age or
Yeah.
you wouldn't have those issues.
Yeah, and then
Time.
you essentially cross that distance in a shorter period of time.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Right?
That's cool.
So then it makes it plausible for us to reach other places, because if not, they say exactly, the fastest thing in the known universe is the speed of light, right? Which is questionable now, because if they've discovered other things that move a little bit faster, particles that move so quickly that they can travel forward or backwards in time.
Interesting.
But theoretically, I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Well,
What about like the string theory, where it's like some objects they don't even need to travel. They can be in multiple places at one
Yeah.
time.
maybe explain do you know what it is? Because I don't know 100% what it is. Is that what it is? When they could be in?
Well, the string theory is basically if before we thought an atom was the smallest thing, right?
Okay.
But then now microscopically they can
It's less as penis.
and then but now they can zoom in so much that you can actually everything moves with a vibration, right? So let's call it string theory, because when you zoom in, it's just like this little like an atom is made out of even smaller things, and they vibrate in a certain frequency, right?
I see, yep.
Yeah. So basically, one frequency would make certain matter, like something would be rock. The way it vibrates makes it what it is, right? So and a lot of times, like when you there's a theory where when you're looking at things it's like music, right? So
Yeah.
it's playing a certain song. So like that chair in front of us, that's the song. It's a song. It's vibrating to the chair, right?
So in our dimension,
Yeah.
it's vibrating as
Yeah,
a chair,
yeah.
but
essentially,
in a different dimension,
it could be vibrating as something else.
As something else, yeah.
exactly.
Ah, cool.
So essentially, it's based that we can overlay different realities over top of each other because we exist in a certain frequency. We only interact with that frequency. We never interact with anything above us or below us.
Hence the DMT thing. Where
So
they say,
yes, where you start resonating at a higher frequency, so you can switch over to another realm.
interesting. That
Yeah.
seems the most plausible. Doesn't
Oh
it?
yeah,
Really?
that's how I feel. Like
So it's overlapping. So and the thing is that there's actually physical, like not physical proof, but theoretical proof of this happening because there are atoms that exist in two separate places at the same time, right? So it essentially the atom is neither here nor there; it's both, and it only changes location depending on where it's being observed from.
That's right. I know that. Yeah.
Right, so that technically states that we can exist in different kind of in different realms, so to speak, right? So it's pretty neat, man. If you think about it, if you start looking into that stuff, and it also adds to the vastness of the universe, right? So now not only is it ever expanding into what they think is what's it called, infinity. Now you could fold it over on itself 1,000,000 times, and now it's infinity times 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000.
yeah,
and it's
infinity times
constantly
infinity.
again.
There's like
Yeah,
no end.
that's
to
it's just
it.
continuous. It's just in continuous life birth. It's continuous growth. It's never stopping. It's never ceasing.
That's interesting, and that was another point that he made today. That Neil Tyson DeGraff, whatever, he was saying that if you think of everything is multi. You know, there's not one star, there's not one source, there's not one galaxy. He says, what makes you think that there's only one universe?
Yeah.
So it kind of supports
there's-
that.
There was a what's that quote? There's either two possibilities. Either we are here alone, or we're not. Both are equally as terrifying.
Yeah, if you could give it everyone sat there for a second, thought
If
about
you
it.
thought about it, if we're here alone, dude, that's fucking scary, dude. There's absolutely nothing else out there except us,
Yeah,
right? Like, what a great representation of this fucking universe we are.
yeah.
One of the things I've always said this too, man, and you guys are kind of like in my ballpark, so I'm sorry if I'm hogging the mic time here.
Yeah, you fucking are, to be honest.
I'm
But
sorry.
it's all
I'm
good.
sorry. I'm sorry.
So you missed
Welcome
a week.
to the Monaco show.
Yeah, I'd like to take the lead mic on this one. You guys that sat me in the center, motherfuckers. This is what you get.
Yeah,
No,
trapping you in there.
No, what happened was that I lost my train of thought again. See, fucking trying to
Take
do
over the universe, being alone.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing: we're all barreling in fucking space
Yeah.
on this giant spaceship that's a rock.
I know it's crazy.
That's all. That's all this is. That's all this is. This is a fucking like a spaceship, but it's so big and we're so divided that nobody realizes that we're all on the same fucking spaceship.
Yeah, that's really interesting way to put it. We're all
Right?
on the same spaceship, but it is crazy that we are barreling through the universe on this fucking spaceship,
On this
going
rock.
how many 100 miles?
Yeah,
an hour?
I don't.
this-
I don't.
on
I don't
this
view it
rock.
as a spaceship show. Like the Earth is a living being. It's like it's a.
I know.
It's like alive. The
It's
Earth
it's
is
its own
alive.
entity.
Yeah.
It is,
You
yeah.
know.
But you know, like the vastness of this Earth is also what's created so much distance between like human beings in general that we don't view it as exactly what it is. Like this is the spaceship, man. Like what-
Spaceship, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it, a living being, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
this is the spaceship. Like we're all in the same spaceship, yet we always war against each other.
Well,
Can
but
you
let's-
imagine? Can you imagine if this is the way the fucking astronauts were on the International Space Station? That thing would have been blown up by the Chinese years ago.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean,
with
like-
rockets made in Taiwan.
But I mean, it's like it's a natural order of things for us to be at war with each other, right? Like you think about microorganisms, they battle, they kill each other,
That's
right?
true.
You know,
But-
one, you know,
But that's where evolution comes in, though, right?
yeah.
At one point, that's another fucking quote too. Is when a group of people or become a civilization becomes so advanced, is there a need for war?
No,
I feel like there's still going to be war, man,
There-
because they're going to conquer less advanced civilizations. Look at what happened when the Spaniards came here.
yeah, but I mean, the thing
Right?
is,
It's always dividing. It's always dividing. Man.
yeah,
It's
but
always-
a lot of it is because all of it is war happens because of greed and capitalism and you know.
Right,
but if
definitely.
Right, absolutely.
when we can be like when we can figure out how everybody can be abundant and you know like even like for example like you can't there's some places like you can't collect rainwater, it's against the law.
Yeah,
you
in the
can-
States.
you
Dude,
need
in
a
the
license to
States.
go fishing, you know, like or you can't be off the grid. That's against the law. You can't just go and live in the forest, and you know what I mean. So like, there's no reason, but that's because it's all money, like
it's all money related.
Once we figure out that,
Look at Venezuela, man.
Yeah.
Look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
One of the highest resources in the fucking planet. They have oil up the gizzards, man.
Yeah.
It costs you $25, or not even. It costs you like $5 to fill your tank, but a loaf of bread costs you 50.
Yeah.
Oh, now they have they just now they're like putting numbers on them. They're like you have to like to go to the grocery store.
Perfect, man. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we needed.
They're like they're like fucking the Holocaust, man. Yeah, man. They're like
Third Reich, baby. The Third Reich is back, man. We're
to
back.
go grocery shopping, you gotta have take a number and they write it on your arm. Yeah.
Because
that's so bad there. Yeah,
because the
that's socialism for you.
no, what happened there?
crazy.
What happened there too is that their inflation went up. I think like 1,000,000% overnight.
Well, yeah, that's what happened in
their
Russia
money,
too. Happened in
yeah.
Russia
So
once.
their money is worth fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like
So
millions,
wheel-bearing money.
Yeah, millions of pesos are worth like $3.
Which that's another whole thing. We're talking about the universe kind of slowly going off, but that on the same thing is like it's mind blowing too how much trust people put into their own economies and their own countries.
Yeah.
Thinking that, well, no, they're always going to look out for us.
Yeah.
And then something changes overnight
Well,
like that, and then people are like people that have saved, had an apartment or had a house there, had a full fridge of food. They were going to work every day, and then all of a sudden, boom. You got your money's worth nothing.
Yeah.
You can't go get food at the grocery store normally. You can't have anything you normally have, and people are killing each other for whatever water.
Yeah.
Like that could happen overnight anywhere, really.
Well, look what happened to the States with the housing market. People had their people that were 80 years old and had their investments at fucking $80,000, $100,000, and all of a sudden the next day they got $5,000 in their fucking banks, man.
Fucking scary.
And then what happens?
It's scary.
Dude, and then hold on. And then what happens is the government goes, "Don't worry, we're gonna bail out the big banks."
Yeah.
But the fucking guys took bonuses and they
Yeah.
cleared out that fucking government money, and the banks still closed, man. They still
Yeah.
fucked all those people.
Yeah, it's just that's greed, though, like you were saying.
Yeah,
Right?
it's capitalism, man. It's
It's greed. That it's unnecessary, really. If we look
Yeah.
at, but the thing is, I think majority of our population isn't developed or smart enough. I don't want to say smart enough, but developed enough to understand that there's enough to go around, and we could all live in harmony and peace, right?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's the monkey trying to hide the pebble, right? Like there's enough pebbles for everybody. Like everybody can get a pebble.
Don't touch my pebble.
Yeah, but there's a couple that just fucking have the stockpile of pebbles, man. For what? For what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, I can buy this planet 3 times over. Good for you, buddy. Like,
You're gonna be dead, though. Yeah.
Fruit still costs the same for you as it does for me. Bread still costs the same. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? At the
You're
end of the
fucking
day,
it up
man.
for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You're just fucking it up for everybody else. It's like when you go to the auction. I hate to bring up car sales again, but get those motherfuckers that bid against you just to drive the price up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it makes no sense.
Well, it does in today's society, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to be this way. It would be nice for me or my kids, when we have kids, to experience a life. It'll never happen, I don't think. A life where everyone could just live, coexist, and actually just be genuinely happy with each other and not be so greedy.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, if you think about it, like, if, for example, if everybody had a garden in their backyard, right?
Yeah.
You can grow more than enough food for you,
That's a good point.
for your neighbors, and for the homeless, and like there would be more than enough food. But everybody's got to have this half-acre backyard with just grass, and
But time as well is
Exactly.
that's we can't have.
That's the point I was going to bring up, though, is that so you have enough room to build a garden, but you're not going to do it. So I'll tell you what, if you give me
I'm not either.
if you give me $25 a week, I'll grow a garden for you.
okay.
See what I mean?
Capitalism.
Okay. So how quickly we switch
Done.
over.
That's a good business.
That's a
idea.
deal, man.
You go around growing
That's a
gardens
good
for
deal,
people.
man.
Patent pending.
Yeah,
Patent
that's a
pending.
great idea.
Hey, why do you think landscaping companies make so much fucking money, man?
But see,
Like,
that-
But they
but
don't do
that-
gardens.
but that's the
organic
point.
gardens in your own
Oh,
base.
shit.
That's a
Fuck,
great idea.
So that's been all for Thinking Out Loud, guys. We got a race to the patent office right now.
Yeah.
You guys did not hear that.
That's a great idea.
It is, but you know what I mean, though. But that's exactly what happens. Is that that's where capitalism comes into play. Is you all of a sudden start. Sorry, my anxiety is fucking going. Do you see that,
it's
right?
all- it's
You
all
see
good.
that? No, I like being open about it. This is why I'm bringing it up on air. Is that see how my fucking voice, like my words are starting to stumble? Yeah.
got all high and shit.
Yeah, I wish, man. Like, look at this, man. Look, my hands are all fucking clapping now. Look at that shit. Fuck. Anyways, that's where capitalism comes into play. Is that as soon as somebody goes, I don't have time. Well, no problem. If you pay me, I'll do it for you. And that's where this fucking whole problem came.
It's a whole bad system.
That's the whole
Now,
fucking thing of the system, right?
I was thinking of this exact same scenario. Is that if Graham Hancock is right, and there was previous previous civilizations before us. Do you think that from maybe the certain people out there knew kind of the area which way their society or civilization went and how they tried to make it work, but it just failed in that way, and now this capitalism way is the way that they think that might bring us to that next level?
No, you know what I think happened?
Maybe they worshipped gods, different kinds of gods, and that didn't work out. Or maybe they worshipped this kind of way of living, it didn't work out.
Or maybe there was too much intervening on another part. You know what I mean? Like maybe what happened was
You got to keep us more closed.
Yes, maybe for example, let's just throw this theory out there. Let's throw this theory out there. So what happens if we are intelligently designed? Let's say an alien species kind of planted us on this planet.
Sure.
And they intervened too much, and we as humans became aggressive because of that, and we ended up waging wars against each other.
Yeah, very plausible.
Right? Because we're already like somehow we're designed to be like that, right? We're designed to.
No, isn't that like the evolution of man though? Like to like the strong will survive.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have Western culture now if it wasn't, slavery and like you think about like Western culture is all built on the backs of like other cultures.
Yeah.
We took the Chinese, they were slaves too. They built the railroads, right, and shit, right?
Well, that's what
Slavery
I mean.
in the world was part of,
Yeah.
of even going way back was.
It still is to this day.
To the day,
right?
the same
like
thing.
to
Yeah.
the same thing. You got people making these fucking brand new smartphones in 3
India
lifetimes.
or whatever,
in
yeah.
3 lifetimes, they'll never be able to afford one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Or
So-
would they want one? Right, that's the thing. They could rather buy bread.
Yeah, exactly. They work fucking weeks and they get a rice bowl at the end of the week, man,
Yeah.
and that's it, right?
It's
Are you
pretty sad.
Are you thinking about those guys that like built Dubai, for example?
Oh,
They're
they're
going there. They're building
fucked.
golden fucking,
Guys.
castles and fucking, and then you cross the street where they're staying, and it's like fucking
slums.
slums,
Yeah, it's
man.
bad.
They're sleeping in like shipping containers, and because they get their fucking passports taken, right? And then they're getting charged rent and shit like that, right? So
That's messed up stuff.
I imagine that, right? Like you're building this fucking $1 billion hotel laced with gold and fucking this and that,
That's
and then you have to go sleep on the floor with like 10 other dudes in a fucking tent.
That's
right.
fucked up.
Sounds like a Les's fantasy.
Yeah, you'd have to come from a pretty shitty situation to want to go do that, though, right?
I feel like
Oh, yeah.
I
I
feel
feel like
like
where are they coming from that they
Well, they
chose
come
that life?
mostly from like India, Pakistan.
Like some really shit ass
Yeah.
situation.
They were
though.
Well, because they're getting promised, right? They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you guys want a
Oh,
job?
so it's
Come
live.
work. We'll fly you here." And then when they get there, they go, "Fuck,
Yeah, well, you got-
everybody give me your passport.
get the job when you
yeah.
have a passport.
Yeah.
it was
stay
even,
here.
It was even like those European countries too, like those like Croatia,
Mm-hmm.
like Yugoslavia, and like those places. They always get an influx of them too, right? So
Yeah, no, that's too bad. It's
there has to be a global. So this is the way I see it. There has to be a global event that's gonna
change
stop
it,
this.
to change it. It's the only thing.
Yeah. So
I say that
either
all the time.
every single economy needs to fucking crash, and then we'll be able to get that change.
Yeah, that's-
But
it's
until
the
that
only way.
happens,
Can't.
fucking nothing's gonna change.
I hate even thinking about that, but I've been saying this even to a buddy of mine. We talked about this because he was telling me like capitalism is the only way it'll work. You have to. I'm like, no, dude, that's not the only way. I said if there was a reset of some sort, some catastrophic
Yeah.
event like a big meteor hit. You don't want this to happen, but it's
No,
saying
no,
that
you're right.
something happens and it just takes out a big part, and the whole world has to get together to rebuild it, and we can restructure everything because now we know.
Take New York for example.
Yeah, they're super patriotic. They're all
They're the
each other.
they're the shittiest people, man.
Yeah.
They're the shittiest people to each other. Traffic is a fucking pain in the ass. They're constantly yelling. If you've ever been there, I've never been there, but I I've heard.
Everyone hears stories about it.
Yeah, people fucking yell at you just for fucking doing certain things or being a certain way.
Oh yeah.
After 9/11,
You've
though,
been there, right?
I've been there a few times. Yeah.
after 9/11, though, everybody was super friendly. It was like USA. They were all like super
Yeah, it changed
patriotic,
them.
and they were all like closer as a group. It's now since gone away, but it caused a fuck ton of damage to get that group
Yeah,
to
it's
kind of
kinda
get
bad.
better.
Well, that's the
right?
thing though. Like if you have so many people living in one area, you can't know everybody. And then, like for example, like New York, if you go to like the downtown of New York, nobody lives there, right? So nobody knows each other. Everybody goes there to work and stuff. So,
Okay.
and then you don't know. There's literally like if you go there, it's like a street party, like a festival, but there's no festival. It's just like straight up. It's like shoulder to shoulder walking, and even if you go like like to even just the outskirts of like Soho, or like there's still like there's people everywhere.
Just that
It's
packed.
insane. It's like, yeah, it's a city never sleeps.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, it's insane. Yeah,
It's
because
a
so
concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
oh yeah, like I can see why people love it there, because it's pretty. That New York is the epitome of what we're talking about, the capitalism
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like Western culture. You know,
It's New York and LA.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
it totally
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
LA is probably not even that bad, because they're still very similar to our. We're
More
bad. We're
hippy-dippy,
capitalists.
man.
Yeah,
They're more hippy-dippy.
Well, they're more
yeah.
spread out though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like New York is very
Jammed.
congested. If you look at like a top view of like where Central Park is and stuff, the amount of skyscrapers, the amount of towers and stuff. It's ridiculous. You know, there's parts of New York where you look up and you can't even see the sky because
Holy
it's so
fuck,
high.
really?
Yeah, man, it's so crazy. Yeah,
That is crazy.
but
Yeah.
like I see the like how people romanticize New York is because there's no limits there. Like you can, you could be that's where like a lot of like drug dealers make it big time. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why the gangster life there is so huge, or like business or like real estate or anything there. Like if you're at capitalism, if you're good at it, New York is the like you will make. That's why you think
Wall
Trump is
Street- that's
makes
where
all
Wall
his money,
Street
right?
is, That's
Good
all that
point.
shit.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good point. Yeah.
That's why everyone goes there, to make big city big money.
Yeah.
Big city big money.
Or you just end up fucking
Doing the nothing.
living in Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you can even be a bum in New York and still, like,
You'll be begging. You have way more people to beg from.
yeah. Like when I was there was people like just sleeping on the street, like
Yeah.
people walking around them. They had like sleeping bags and stuff, and they're just like,
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
But I mean, like, there's thousands of people walking by you every day. If somebody every 20th person throws you 50 cents a dollar,
It's a lot.
you're making
You
like
make it- but-
$400 or $500 a day, right?
But everything there, I can imagine, is super expensive too, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it depends. Like it depends. It's super expensive, but there's also like super cheap stuff because it's like there's like a lot of going back to
Competition?
capital. No, not competition, but like a lot of whatchamacallit, like fake stuff. What do you call it?
Knockoffs?
Knockoffs. Like right.
Yeah.
You can buy like knockoff anything there because like
So you could
That's-
you could cheap your way out if you.
yeah, you
had
could
to.
totally cheap. Like you go buy yourself like knockoff Nikes or knockoff Rolex. Like there's guys on the street that sell it to you. They're like, hey, want to buy a Rolex?
It's like the old jacket.
In a jacket, yeah.
Yeah, literally, yeah. And then
That's crazy. But yeah, no, that is it's the world we live in is crazy. I don't know. I wish it would be different. Maybe you say that because
in what way though?
I wish everyone was just everyone was more. I don't want like socialism, or I don't want that. I wish everyone had the same mindset and was equal and had the same opportunities for everything, though. Not
Yeah.
like super rich people. Like everyone got to have.
Well, I mean,
the best
everybody
shit.
everybody does have the same opportunities, though, right? Like that's the thing.
Not
Some
really.
people like they just take advantage of their opportunity and then they like suppress other people, right?
Well, that's the problem. Like big tech companies suppress everyone. You can't start a tech company now and make. You can't do that.
Why
You
not?
can't.
Why not?
Would never be big.
Why not? Look at Instagram. That guy.
Well, no,
that
they're
guy's
starting
made-
now. This is
that
all
guy
the
made
beginning.
it- right? But that's the thing. Like you just have to have a niche who you have to start it first, right?
I guess
like
there's always a
Instagram,
possibility.
YouTube, Facebook.
I guess there's
All
always
those
a-
guys were just college dudes, right?
I guess there's
Yeah.
always a possibility. You're right, but
Right.
I think that to have everybody have those, to have everyone, that no poor people. Not saying individually,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like everyone on the same level. Like having people in Africa have the exact same. They get to drive around Teslas.
No, fuck that.
No, that's the thing.
Not like you.
Buddy, we can't have Teslas. They barely got electricity, man. Why are you charging these things?
I want to have a Tesla first before Wakanda has Teslas. I want to have
Well,
a
yeah.
Tesla.
Before Wakanda.
Like capitalism is great. Like I
Well, that's
I'm
what
successful
that's
with
what
it.
drives.
I love
That's
it.
what drives. That's what capitalism builds ambition.
But I think it's a
you know?
comp out. I think it's a really pathetic way to manipulate society to make them work harder, to make them drive to push our economy when we're so selfish that we can't do it by ourselves.
So that's
But that's what drives innovation and
But
like,
he doesn't. Why don't we just have the drive?
well, because you need some kind of reward. You know what I mean?
Why,
It's like
though?
what, like why do you want to be Olympic champion? Because you want the fucking gold medal, right?
No, I
Right?
understand you, but I mean, like, what if it was the reward was helping everyone else and doing it for society?
this is back to the whole spaceship thing, man.
We all live in one world.
Why do we view everybody as separate? Then you know what I mean? Like, this is a fucking spaceship, man. We should all be thriving.
We're all in one house.
If this entire fucking spaceship either thrives or we all fall together, we just created so much distance that we have enough time where you do kind of tend to do this. I have to give a shout out to Amber though. She told me to give her a shout out. So
Amber, right on, Amber. Shout out to Amber.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, Amber, right on.
Follow, subscribe.
Acuérdate,
Donate some money.
sigue estudiando.
Oh, some Spanish. Where's Amber from?
Fuck, I forgot. Some of those Mexican countries. Down
Oh,
there.
okay, right on. Yeah, I know.
She's watching, so.
I know that idea, what I was saying about everyone doing it just because to help each other out, and there's no need to have some people without drinking water for that. It's unrealistic as the way we think today, because we've already gone through this for so long. We're already that way.
Yeah,
it'll never change. I understand that. This is
no,
the way
it'll
it has
change.
to be.
I think at some point it's going to change.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The thing is, though, is that so we don't necessarily need them to be driving Teslas or to live in mansions.
That was a little extreme.
No. But
yeah.
here's the thing. Basic human needs, man. Like,
everybody should have
they shouldn't
a
be
roof over
starving.
their head.
They shouldn't be starving. They shouldn't be cold. If
I don't think they're cold in Africa, bro.
Yeah, I think maybe hot.
Listen,
I think they're good in Africa.
Can I fucking finish? Holy. Now, this is what you guys feel like when I interrupt you all the time?
Yeah.
now I'm doing it on purpose.
No, they should. If they're cold, they should have a roof over their heads to keep them warm. If they're hot, they should have something to keep them cool. If they're hungry, they should be fed. If they're thirsty, they should drink. That's just basic human shit, man.
Yeah.
And we deny that from a good fucking 75% of the world. Like, think about it.
75.
Like, look at China, look at some parts of Russia, look at all the Middle East.
It's pretty much everywhere else other than North American parts of close Europe, West Europe.
Yeah, man. Like, there's parts of the U.S. that you still need to boil your water. Like, how the fuck do we consider ourselves a civilization?
Flint, Michigan.
Like, I can't even drink that water.
Dude, how do we?
It's like apocalypse there. It's like fucking Mad Max there, man.
Dude,
That's
like,
crazy.
How do we even expect to even fucking get remotely close to giving a Tesla to an African dude?
Yeah, well, that's
we can't even give them clean water.
But I mean, that would be the grand.
But you know what I mean, though?
The grand plan is to have everyone there. But basic needs that should be a no-brainer.
Exactly. Like, every person that's born into this country should have at least his basic needs taken care of.
And the sad part is, I think, is that if we have enough smart people and scientists and biologists and everything else, that you could come up with a plan that it's available. This is not something we cannot do.
Oh, it's totally 100% doable.
But we just choose not to.
No, it's just
no money there.
It's just it's not getting the funding. It's
no
not
money
getting,
there. You can't make money off it.
And then, but the thing is that going back to what I was saying earlier, it's like we don't need all this technology or this stuff. Like, you could live off the land. You know.
No, but what we need, though.
People have been doing it since before we had all the technology, right?
But what we need is
People
basic human decency. And that's what's lacking in most cases.
Capitalism is overtaking that.
Yeah, that's what's basic human decency. Just, you see a guy without shoes on, man, and you have an extra pair of shoes in your car, why don't you just give the guy your fucking shoes?
But I know so many people that would be like, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Well,
that's what I think. $80, man. Fuck these shit.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do is we need to call out motherfuckers that are doing bullshit, like if they're cutting down the rainforest, if they're polluting the waters, they need to be on the world stage where everybody goes, this is the fucking guy that's
drop the fucking
right. But the problem is, though, the problem with that, though, is that to call those people out, you'd also have to stop using gas, right? Because in the Gulf of Mexico to be polluted, you'd have to start using oil.
Well, no,
or paper products is going to stop the deforestation, but we're not prepared to take those steps yet.
Well, that's the thing, is because there's people in power right now who still have control over what is being used, right? As for resources, like paper is not an issue. We can make all the fucking hemp paper we want, right?
Yeah.
That's not an issue. But we can make clothes out of fucking hemp. Nobody needs to not have clothes, right? But
420, y'all.
Yeah, but it's that motherfucker who's fucking, but slowly, as this time's going on, and thank you to the internet, things are being put into light. Like, no, this is, you can't, this is bullshit. You can't do that, so
more people getting called out.
Yeah, no, and it's like, and that's the thing, and unfortunately, that's also coming full circle to what you guys were saying before, is that we need to drive technology. Technology is what's inevitably going to solve these problems, right?
Yeah.
Right. The biggest thing with processed foods, I don't know if you guys remember this, but processed foods like cereal, just shit that you pick up at the grocery store.
Good.
The lie that was fed about processed foods is that it was going to end world hunger.
Yeah, it was a lie. That's when it came out.
Yeah, because processed food was cheaper to produce and doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. This is what we need to curb. Fucking.
I'd like to know who the owner or who the main funder was for processed
Kellogg's.
foods. It's some
Rochester,
yeah,
Ro-
the
Ro-
Rockefeller
Rockefeller.
or
Oh
something,
yeah.
yeah.
Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every fucking company can be rooted
Manipulated.
down to the
It's like four. It's like four. Yeah,
four
the
companies,
DuPonts,
man.
They
Yeah.
just
the
want to
Rock-
sell
yeah.
more shit. So
The
they're
same,
like, well,
Rothschild,
the same
the
people that make the
Rockefellers.
paper that wipe your ass is the same guys that make fighter jets, right? Like,
yeah, it's crazy, yeah. And they
right?
just make them
That's
these-
not by accident, right? And that's the capitalism right there. Those guys,
Created
you know,
it.
some people are good at basketball, some people are good at fucking
Capitalism.
knitting, and some people are good at fucking
Well, that's
manipulating the
making money.
economy.
But
Yeah,
that's,
right.
and that's
That's
what I
right.
said before, right? Like one of the biggest reasons why we haven't kind of been back to the moon or we haven't done certain things is because
money in it.
these companies take these big thinking dudes, like these guys that
Yeah,
have these
they
great
pay 'em
intellects. They get amazing intellect. They have amazing brain power, and they say, "I'm going to hire you right out of college. I know you're in debt for a couple $100,000, so I'm going to pay you those couple $100,000 a year."
I'll get rid of your student debt or whatever.
Yeah, and all I need you to do is use that superior intellect to figure out how to make my company more money.
And how to make this paper turn to food or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck
Yeah,
it
exactly.
might be. Yeah.
So now, before when we were reaching these super fucking like crazy goals of going to the moon and all that stuff, that all got halted because we just became more of a capitalist society, right? It was no longer a society where it was a growth for society. Like we talked about this before, a cure for cancer. Nobody wants to cure cancer.
No,
Of course
maybe
not,
the Canadian
no.
government because they can save more money.
Well,
they pay for all our stuff.
so, but the big pharma, the taxes that big pharma brings in. really-
that's true. Yeah,
Right.
they're right. Yeah.
So it's the same thing, like the whole HIV thing. HIV is almost eradicated, but they'll never tell you that there's a cure
Yeah.
because it costs way too much money. It
Yeah.
generates way too much money.
There's a lot of money in it. A lot of money and all that stuff.
they've actually announced that they're gonna go back to the moon.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It was
awesome.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
That's gonna be really exciting.
Maybe
Actually,
build a base. I'm like, because in my mind I'm like, why are we going to Mars? Like, there's a place just right above us. Why don't we just colonize the moon? 'Cause
well, you can't. The Mars supposedly you can make an atmosphere there. They're saying because it has water.
because this is the logic that I see is like, they want to colonize Mars, right?
Yeah.
Because we're fucking up the Earth, right? And the Earth will be uninhabitable,
Yeah.
right?
Uninhabitable.
Uninhabitable, right?
And rubber.
So
Yeah.
why don't we just do what we're doing in Mars, but here?
Yeah.
Way closer.
Right? We're already here.
Well, no,
Maybe
but-
there's
no,
We're gonna
no,
terraform the
no,
fucking.
no. The thing is that what we need to do to Mars is what we're doing here. So Mars needs global warming to melt the
right.
ice to make an atmosphere. So technically, we are doing the reverse. So we need to go to Mars, fucking pack it full of diesel fucking
Well, they're
fumes.
saying if you send a nuke into Mars,
Yeah.
it'd be uninhabitable for 100 years or 10 whatever 200 years
30,000 years.
whatever it was, some
Yeah,
long thing, but
yeah.
it would be turned into a regular planet again.
Well, if Mars, Chernobyl, fucking let's do this shit, dude. Send some Russians, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's I think a little bit to do with it is that Mars has the ability to be like Earth on a certain part of it. Like they can
Because there's there's a few things that you need for like
carbon, water.
yeah. So
Tacos.
there's like ice, there's like
That's
ice,
Mexico, man.
Oh shit, sorry.
Sorry.
but then there's no like plant life. Like how do you?
No, but that'll start. They
Yeah,
say that'll
that's cool.
start
You-
after the atmosphere builds.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Because they found there's microbes and microorganisms in the soil, right?
Yeah.
So technically, that means that at one point there was like organic matter there.
Oh, okay.
They believe that there was actually. There was even stories that there was even a civilization there one time. They saw.
There's-
some
you
stuff.
know what? There's no doubt in my mind that at one point Mars was a planet just like ours.
well, that's the whole what's that like? What's that thing where they we actually are Martians?
Yeah,
but we
from
fucked
there.
that up and then we came here.
Yeah.
What is that whole story? What is
Oh,
that called? You were
so-
talking about that before.
No, it was the
The Planet X story.
No,
No.
what are they?
so what happens if the last two inhabitants of Mars were sent off in a pod that landed on Earth, and that was the meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs and kickstarted the mankind era on the planet.
Interesting. And then it was those people. Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting.
And that's Adam and Eve.
Yeah, well, that's that whole thing we were talking about last time too. Is like the whole Adam and Eve thing is that's a very plausible thing. That's what we were talking about. So a story along the lines of that.
Well, there was a geneticist that mapped the human genome, and apparently we all have something in our DNA that's called the mother gene, which means that we're all essentially the descendant of one female.
It's interesting. Yeah,
So
I
we
didn't
can
know.
all be traced back to one female. Now I may be making that completely up.
We should we gotta fact check
may
that.
I may have been really fucking high when I read that, but in one of my many fucking YouTubes at 4 o'clock in the morning,
You saw that somewhere.
I saw that somewhere that we have a gene in our DNA that links us to every other person on this planet.
Interesting. Yeah, I never heard that before.
Yeah.
I have to fact
So
check
we're all
that.
essentially descendant from one female. Maybe not one male. Maybe Mama Bear got around, but
Yeah. What's,
yeah.
I saw someone put a note there. Did they write a fact or no?
over 80% of the general population would die if they had to live off the land.
Why? Who's that?
That's my buddy Young Caleb.
Caleb says, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in today's age, for sure, going back to
Absolutely.
no one knows how to do that.
But the thing is this: is that you'd eliminate 80% of the population,
So there's a
so there'd be more land for the rest of us to fucking grow shit in. Plain and simple. I don't give a fuck.
You can always hear.
Listen.
Way to be optimistic.
Listen, here's the thing. When I was a kid, I went through a lot of shit. Okay,
Yeah.
I went through a lot of shit. One thing I know how to do is fish.
Yeah.
I also know how to fucking hunt, and I do know how to set up fucking a tent or to make fucking shelter.
Yeah, but you're not a high like. You can't look at yourself. You're
I know.
You're the
Dude,
20%.
I'm the 20%.
bro. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about the answer.
You're the 20%,
But here's the thing: I have no problems building you a tent. How much are you gonna pay me?
That's where capitalism goes back. That's where we start. then we
Full
back-
circle, baby. Full
back to
circle.
the circle.
Full circle. No, but that's the thing, though, is that we all essentially are descended from one person. That brings me back to the spaceship, man. We all forget, just because it's so big, just because this area is like the planet is so vast. We forget, man. We always forget that we're all in this fucking game together. If the planet
It's like
dies,
one big house floating
if the
around.
planet dies in Canada, it dies everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And that's what's going to cause a problem.
But the-
and the biggest thing there is that capitalism ain't going to save shit then, because your money ain't going to buy nothing.
No, exactly. That's the
Right?
that's the problem with this, is that in today's world, there's too many people manipulating different societies and manipulating different countries and different people, and you using different stories to sell their products, like global warming. You don't know. We don't know. You have 50% of the population saying yes, that's a real thing, and then you have 50% of the population saying that's not a real thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there's still, that's the big divide. That's the problem we're in, is that there's so many stories and so many things that we don't know what's fucking real anymore.
So did you ever like look into the whole Anunnaki theory thing?
Lots. I know a ton of that. So I did the research. I shit
so
out of that.
do you know why they made the mankind?
Maybe explain it again.
The mankind slave.
What Anunnaki was. So people
They're apparently these beings that used to come down to Earth. They're kind of accredited through certain theories. They're the ones that created the early mankind. They essentially took genetics from themselves and a species of ape that were on the planet, and they intermingled them, and then they made humans, and we were a slave race.
slavery. So before you go on to the story,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
if anyone's looking to look up some information on this, Zachariah Stitchin is a guy. You can Google or YouTube him. He's got a couple documents. I think he's got a bunch of books, but he goes into this in really good depth. And the good thing is he has tons of logical points. It's not, whoa, this is crazy. He backs everything
Yeah.
up with actual proof from Earth.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So now, you know why they enslaved humans, right? What
Yeah,
was
to
the
mine
purpose?
gold.
To mine gold.
Yeah.
So now, what was the gold for? Do you remember?
Gold for the atmosphere to put on their planet,
So they were using the gold.
which makes sense, dude. This is,
So they were using the gold mined from Earth they would somehow through technology put it into their atmosphere to block radiation from the sun.
and they have actually
because
scientific proof.
because they put so much pollution into their planet
Yeah.
that they destroy their atmosphere.
Yeah.
So they needed the gold to deflect the sun's solar rays.
That's right, and it's actually scientifically proven that gold is one of the only elements or one of the only things that
can block solar radiation,
rays.
which is why they use it on spaceships and shit, dude.
That's right.
But like the funny thing is the longer we go on about like global warming and shit like that, the more these fucking theories start to make sense, right? Because you're like, shit, son, this guy was talking about a race of beings, and this isn't new. Zachariah Stitchin's theories are like in the 30s and 40s, dude, right? Like it's not even that new.
No, he's an old dude. Well, I
Yeah.
think he passed away actually 2 years
Yeah.
ago. But anyway.
So it's not even that new. But the thing is that they're essentially foreseeing global warming. Like he said that there's a global warming event happening in a different planet. These species came down, used us as slaves to mine gold for their civilization to excel.
They manipulate our genes to make
Yeah.
us. They use the monkeys or whatever
Yeah.
to manipulate genes, and
And which is
use
why
us
humans have an inherent need to think that gold is some sort of
some
value.
and also always to be slaves
Yeah.
or to work all the time.
Oh,
do
to always
stuff.
to work for something.
Yeah, to have goals or
Yeah.
to reach this.
Yeah,
and have
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is actually the funny thing is too, because going back to this Graham Hancock thing is talking about the ancient civilizations, how they might have been, a civilization we're talking about, this soup might have been a civilization that was advanced or more advanced. Maybe they didn't have the advancements like we think of advancements, like TV screens or this and that, but those motherfuckers were smart enough to write down everything on clay tablets.
Yeah.
Because they knew that stuff
It
lasts.
stands.
They
it's-
ju-
yeah.
stands
Speaking of
every-
Graham Hancock, they just because of global warming in Greenland, it was covered in ice, but now that ice is melted, they just discovered a giant fucking crater from a meteor.
Yeah, that's what they were
meteorite.
saying.
Yeah, like it's like 18 miles. Like
Yeah.
it's like 18 miles wide.
Yeah.
It's fucking
And
huge.
the reason why they're talking about this so much is because it's on the exact timeline of something like 12,000 years from the
Yeah.
other crater they have found on
Yeah.
Earth, where they said it was a reset for the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So now they know that there's definitely two catastrophic events that have happened at roughly around the same
Yeah.
time length from each other.
Yeah, it's like
So
every
now
12,000 years.
They're now putting it together that holy fuck, this
Yeah.
actually comes around and happens. Possibly. We
Yeah,
don't know.
there's a time frame I think between 12 to 16,000 years.
That's what they're saying.
And we're overdue. We're
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
We're
we're
right-
overdue.
we're right around
We're
Yeah.
overdue. Yeah,
We're overdue.
every 80 years, right? There's like
They're like,
or-
ooh,
No,
shit.
it's like a serious like number of years, but we're overdue for a catastrophic event, which is great because I'm one of the 20% that can farm my own fucking land, bitches.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, shit. Like there's obviously some people that survive, right?
Yeah.
Like, because if maybe not.
No,
Maybe
there has to be.
There has to be a couple, right? Because
There has to
Well, that's
be.
what, yeah, like some
Popular.
people survived that cat, and then
Yeah,
that what made modern humans now,
But see-
right?
see,
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You guys making fun of the fucking Africans because they don't have Teslas, hey? Those fuckers are used to not living with fucking water.
They're
They're
nothing.
used to not living with electricity.
It's funny you say that too. And they're
So-
supposedly one of the oldest civilizations
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
known to man.
Well, that's
dating
where
back, like,
that's
25
where humanity comes from, right? It originates from
originally
there.
From Africa.
Yeah.
They said, yeah.
So maybe that's the trick, man.
Maybe they're getting us.
Exactly. Maybe jokes on us, man. Maybe they think, look at these guys living all comfortable, getting all fat and lazy. These guys are still chasing gazelles by foot, man. So the fuck tomorrow, the whole known fucking planet, like the internet shuts down, dude. The internet shuts down. The mall is closed for a fucking day.
Fuck, I know it closes my work. I'm like, holy, what do I do?
Exactly. I think these maybe we're looking at this the whole like we're just
Could be a
wrong,
total
man.
reverse.
Yeah, these guys maybe
They're like, I don't want that.
except for malaria.
Well, that's what like
Ebola.
well, that's what we talked about last week about book smarts or street smarts, right? Like if there was some kind of catastrophic event, I would survive. I would be able to build a shelter. I'd be able to fish, make fire. Right? So
I agree with that 100%. I don't know anyone. I don't know of anyone that I know that wouldn't really be able to survive. But
Oh,
I
right.
know,
know,
man.
I know a bunch of people.
I know a
that
bunch of
would.
people would be the first ones on the
Be
block.
dead.
man.
Well,
Yeah.
I know my wife would figure it out. Like she's with me, but if she was by herself, she has her brother, and I don't know. She'd survive.
My wife would be dead in the first day. She would. Yeah, she. That's why she's with me because that's.
You survive.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean. Like, there's a lot of people gonna be dropping off, man. So if you haven't paid your tab with Vic, buddy, fuck, you're on your own now, motherfuckers. Plain and simple. I know who I'm coming for. And I know who's not getting picked up.
Yeah, that's why I'm like when I watch a lot of like survival stuff. Yeah,
Naked and
and
Afraid.
it's not like I don't watch. It's like I'm drawn to watching like 30 Days Alone in the Forest or like
See, that-
what kind of plants are edible, how to recognize
Totally.
what snakes are poisonous and shit like that. Like I don't know, I find that shit's interesting to me. Like how to make fire 20 different ways. Pee in a bag and use it as a fucking like a magnifying glass. Right? Yeah,
Fucking
man.
fire, yeah.
man.
That's funny because I watch that stuff all the time too. And the funny thing is, I watch it and I don't like watching it with my wife because I think she looks at me like I'm a fucking nutcase. She's like,
He
"What the
doesn't
hell are
like
you doing?"
he doesn't like watching it with his wife because he doesn't plan on letting her survive.
No, you can't get into these tips. No,
Fuck you.
No, she's like, and then I always tell him like I want to get like a food dehydrator and all this stuff and start storing food and like just in case, like you never can be
Yeah.
prepared enough. And she's like, "You're crazy, dude."
That reminds me of a fucking. This guy made a review of like a 22 handgun. Right? He's like, He's like, oh, my wife and I were walking in the forest, right? And thank God I had my 22 on me because a black bear came out of nowhere and started chasing us. So good thing I had my 22 because I shot my wife in the leg. And it gave me a chance to escape.
Oh, good shot.
There's a shirt that's like that too. Be nice to fat people because one day they might save your life. And there's a bear chasing this guy, and the skinny guy's in the front, and the fat guy's in the back.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. I shot my wife in the leg.
That's the fucking what's a British guy? He's a comedian.
Fuck, there's been so many. Like,
The one of the top guys. He's like, he wrote The Office. He's like the
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais. He's got a show on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny. He's walking by the school, and then his nephew goes to that school, so he's like saying hi to his nephew, and then this fat kid goes, pedophile, you're a pedophile. And he goes, I'm not a pedophile, but if I was one, you'd be safe, you little fat fucker. Nobody wants to molest you, you fat fucker.
Nobody wants to molest you, fatty. It's funny, man. Fucking douchebags. But yeah, no. Luckily, I'm on the 20%, man. Like I said, I learned how to fish at a young age. I learned. I have no problems killing an animal.
Yeah,
as long as I have to, if I have to eat.
I'm respectful too. You know, I'm not killing for the fun of it, and it's, I always say, like, I love my dog, but if worst comes to worst, guess who's the first one? If there's some kind of thing where I gotta feed my children.
That's
Boomer, I love you, bro.
There was a comedian that was saying that. This comedian was saying, like, we're guys. Like, the difference between guys and women are simple. Women got to enjoy certain things. Like, oh my God, look at that kitty, and he's so cute. I'd like to think that kitten's cute, but one day I might have to kill that fucker to feed my family, so I'm not allowed to fucking think they're cute. Right? I don't have time to spin around in sundresses in the fucking middle of a field. I have to, sharpen my eyesight in case there's a predator, motherfucker. I gotta be sharpening spears and shit.
You don't name animals you're gonna eat.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't give them names.
Don't worry, I learned that lesson too, man. I learned that lesson too.
I had a pet rooster before.
Yeah.
And then one day came home and he wasn't around anymore. And I think we had chicken for dinner that night. I didn't put two and two together. I was too young, but
and after that, Soup always liked the cock.
And gay.
I feel like this podcast was 90% less gay when I wasn't around.
99.9%.
No. Les was still on. So
unless your name was brought up, then it became gay.
But yeah, no. Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. Now, you guys were talking about Adam and Eve earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Adam and Eve were the first humans, right? And they had kids. Mm-hmm. So who did their kids have kids with?
Eve.
That's the part that confuses me. Like, how did we sprout from this one family?
Well, that's what I mean. It doesn't make any sense, right? Biblically speaking, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense, right? Yeah, tons. There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
There's so many things that make sense. And
because it's the whole book's written by men, right?
Yeah,
and it's written for their benefit, right?
Yeah.
But the whole book is written by men. Sorry.
And then it's rewritten again by the next guy. The next guy omits certain things, but
there is it's written by men still, but there's a lot of female parts that are they scribed for what the woman was saying.
Yeah. The thing is that it was, but
supposedly,
what do you mean?
Like they basically, it would be like they're writing the story based of the woman saying it.
Like what? Like what part?
Like it wasn't written.
For example, when they go to the temple, when they go to like where the graveyard was for Jesus, there was a girl that discovered him.
Yeah.
And she basically was the one that came back and told everyone that he was gone, like that he resurrected or whatever.
Yeah.
So
he was erect.
He was super erect. Yeah.
Stiff like a board.
Yeah, he wasn't there, and all his clothes were there, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So they put that in there. They didn't eliminate women from saying things in the Bible, but like you said. Yeah. Mostly men.
You ever hear that the Jesus alien theory?
No.
Nah. Basically, okay. So, Mary, she's like sheep herding or whatever the fuck, right? And then she gets abducted by aliens.
I watched a porn like this once.
And then they impregnate her with a superhuman, right? Because they're testing to see if we can thing. So right, so that's why he uses the Virgin Mary. She comes back home. She's pregnant because she got abducted, right?
Rubber dicks for
And
everyone.
then
I missed the sound effects.
so then the three wise men, they're following the star, which is an alien ship that's leading the three wise men, right? The smartest. They're like the wise men, so it's leading them to Jesus, so they can teach him to be, you know, like, because he's a superhuman. He's got fucking powers. He can walk on water. He can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So and then so that's the aliens testing the humans to see if we can deal with that, right? And then. But we ended up fucking murking him because we couldn't.
Yeah, they're like,
right?
yeah, no, they're not ready yet.
Right? Yeah. So we murked him, and then he dies. Well, that's why they bring him. The wise men bring him like gold, myrrh, and like all that shit, right?
Murder.
Yeah.
Right. And then he dies, and then gets resurrected, and then you see he's like floating up, but he's actually getting like beamed up into the ship. Right?
And you see all that little.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
shit.
That makes more sense than like the biblical story, right?
Fuck this shit. Let's pull. It's like Saving Private Ryan, but it's saving Jesus Christ. They go like, no, let's go get
Right,
him.
'cause Jesus-
They fucked him up, let's go get him.
Jesus came down and he's trying to do what we were talking about. The
Unify.
world's abundant. You can have whatever. You know, nobody needs to starve. Nobody needs to die of disease. Come on, guys, follow me. And then some fucking.
And then the Jews came.
And then right. And then the fucking.
There's a lot of. Yeah.
That being said, I'm not anti-Semitic, guys. I'm just making a joke.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things that don't add up in the Bible for sure. Like, I've started going to church like about a year and 8 months ago now, and there's a lot of things that don't add up.
You go to church now?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. But it's more of a. Like,
Are you
it's
like an altar boy or?
Yeah. I'm not Catholic. I don't go to Catholic church. I don't like a
He
Christian
still
church.
prays on his knees, though.
Yeah, but no, it's like there's a lot of things that do come out of it, you know, or that are by having faith. Now, if having faith in something, maybe if you have faith in anything, like if it's Buddha, if it's anything,
Well, that's the
having
thing.
the positive
There has to
outlook
be
is-
something like even the most remote tribes in the fuck like
Always-
that live that never been contacted. They worship something.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
know,
mean.
so there has to be
There's something
everybody.
embedded-
Yeah,
something embedded.
humans
We-
have some kind of like.
weird thing, yeah.
We had the discussion.
Yeah.
I said,
need
what evolutionary trait, like what evolutionary, like what does it serve for us to worship something, right? Because evolution eliminates what is not needed for survival, right?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So why do we still have the need to worship, even though it doesn't really add anything to us? It actually divides humans more.
Totally.
Right, so religion in itself is a division. Like it divides human beings. It actually, like you said, nowadays with extremists on both sides.
Well, that's the thing. Is
radical
it's
extremism.
the radicals that fuck it up
Still
for
though,
everybody else.
But still, though, like
If you didn't have it at all, you wouldn't have it.
exactly. So why do we still have the inherent need to worship?
I think what it is everybody needs guidance, right? You need to like you know like even as an adult, you still feel like are you like you know it's hard to like you need guidance and so like
Someone
a lot of
that
people
won't-
they worship because they want somebody to tell them what to do.
But
So
right?
what do it also is something that won't let them down.
But
so
don't
like
we
something
already
that-
gain that in community? Like just being part
No,
of the
but
community.
people are unreliable. People,
Yeah,
people aren't there for you all the time.
they're filtering their life experiences onto you.
So
right?
you
Yeah.
say so we have this inherent need to worship, so that we create a perfect being, a being that
That's right.
that makes fucking.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
dude.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we need guidance.
That's
Like,
what it
people
is.
need to know. Like, this is, you know,
There's a
Jesus.
perfect
What do I?
being, yeah.
Please tell me what
Yeah.
to do. Or you know, they have issues. They always go back to like,
But then-
dear Lord, help me figure this shit out.
in,
or, you know?
in that case, though, like, but why do we have the need to just go, hey, can you help me? Like, tell me what to do, as opposed to just saying, okay, fuck it, this is what I'm going to do.
Well,
That-
that's the conundrum really is because you're like God is not here. Everybody like you know the number one gift is free will, right?
Yeah.
And part of that is you have to choose your own path. Like
That's
part of it is the experience of fucking up, the
Oh, of course,
experience
right.
of right. So and that's the thing is we want to be guided, but
Dude, from personal
that's
experience.
the thing that God has to he doesn't want to guide you. He wants you to learn for yourself.
That's right.
Right.
That's
Well,
the whole plan
hey,
of
man.
what it says in the Bible, right? It says all that, and yeah, there's you take from what you want really from it. Those things, I think. I don't know. It's bizarre because it's written so long ago, but there's so many valid things that come out of it that are written for things for now and for the future.
Well,
that last
that's
forever.
that's the issue. Is a lot of people, you can't have a tribal mentality when it comes to religion. Everybody has to take it for their own benefit.
It's
you
your
know?
own personal
and that's the
thing.
issue when it
Yeah.
comes to radicalism and extremists. They're following what that guy says I have to do.
That's right.
You know, and
Well-
it doesn't fit your narrative with your life. Everybody's life
Well,
is different, right?
In Islam, in the Quran, there's an area that states that essentially your religion is your religion, and mine is mine.
Yeah.
So we could follow the same religion, but the way you observe it and the way I observe it are different.
Right,
Yeah,
which-
so then
which
I have
is-
to kill you, and then you're
Yeah, I mean, and
I have
that's
to
but,
behead you.
but the thing, and that's the problem, right? Is that unfortunately,
But that part was written by some dude that was in power that wanted to stay in power.
But so
and,
the
right?
difference between the Bible and the Quran, though, is that the Quran hasn't been changed.
supposedly, yeah.
No, it's never been changed. It's the same Quran.
But it's
that's
still
been
written
observed.
by a dude, though.
Of course, and that's what I said before. And unfortunately, it being written, like there's no scripture that was written by Jesus Christ. You know that.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's absolutely nothing in the Bible that was actually handwritten by Jesus. There's no part of that has ever been put into the Bible. So now what you're doing is that because we are flawed as humans, we could never understand the perfect message that was brought upon by somebody like Jesus or Muhammad
Or whoever.
Or whoever.
Whoever.
Yeah,
Whoever.
because we are inherently human. We're flawed. We're flawed as humans,
Right.
right?
But that's what drives us as humans, right? Like being flawed is being human.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Trust
like-
me, nobody knows that better than I do, buddy. Nobody knows that better than I do. We
Right.
fucking fall, and the only thing we can do is dust ourselves off and pick
you
ourselves
know
up, man.
That's the thing. Like I saw this thing the other day. It's like
Was it gay porn?
There we go.
I saw this thing the other day. It was like people don't say this often, but you got to give a big shout out to those who go through depression, who go through anxiety, and bounce back. Those people that come back from it,
Absolutely.
you know, right? You know,
There's no more. So I read this quote the other day, and it kind of came at a really good time for me because of the shit that I've
$20 is
been.
$20.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, trust me. Fuck, at this point, man, I don't. Dude,
It came at the right time.
I'm doing whatever I gotta do, man. I'm doing whatever I gotta do.
Yeah.
Hey,
the thing, yeah.
thanks for that, man. Yeah, it's been pretty tough the last little bit, buddy. There's been a lot of shit going on in my life, and yeah, man, no, it's good. It's good to be out. This is my first podcast back. Went through some mental health stuff lately. I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to like really bum this fucking podcast down because I feel like it will. But
He doesn't want to bum.
getting
He's bumming every night. So
yeah, every day
He's getting
every
bummed every night.
day we're getting a little bit better. Every day we get a little bit better.
How
a
many
little bit
days?
stronger.
17?
17 days, man. 17 days today.
17 days, no penis.
Yeah.
See, man. See what I'm
No,
saying,
and
man? See what I'm
it's like
saying?
it's funny because you said my sister deals with mental issues too,
Yeah.
and mental what do you call it, depression or mental illnesses. I don't know what the
Yeah,
political
yeah.
way
But
is.
yeah, for me, I said I have mental health issues. I was doing my best to kind of manage them on my own, not seeking help and stuff like that. Just trying to be that strong dude, right?
And
that-
everyone wants you to be.
yeah, the strongest bridge will fall if it's doesn't have regular maintenance.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure, absolutely.
And that's what kind of happened to me is that I had a pretty decent mental break, right?
Yeah.
And one of the quote that I was saying and what was said was there's nothing more beautiful than a human who is just restarting, like is starting to
Yeah.
kind of regain themselves.
Yeah.
Because that is essentially what we do. We break down and we rebuild. We break, we build. We break, we build. So, hopefully most people's break isn't as bad as
Well,
mine.
that's the thing.
but,
It's
I'm still here, dude. I'm still able to fight.
you
So-
don't grow from the good stuff that happens to you.
Yeah.
You grow from the
Yeah.
bad stuff that
Well,
happens to you.
that's kind of
you
what we were
know?
talking about earlier too, right? Like a global event is what unifies people because that's the precipice of the thing,
But I
right?
don't know. I feel like
So that's
I
kind of
feel
what
like at this stage, if some global event happens, some motherfuckers are gonna be the warlord.
Yeah.
and people are getting enslaved, and you know what I mean. It's
It's
like back in the slavery days when slavery was abolished. A lot of those guys that were slaves went back to Africa
Yeah,
and then
that's what
became
Liberia-
warlords
that was
and then
Liberia.
enslaved their own people.
They sent them back to Liberia,
Yeah.
and the first thing that the returning Africans did was enslave the population.
Yeah,
Which is
back the diamond, fucking
which
diamonds
is why
and
that's,
fucking.
that's the point I was trying to make, is that everybody thinks that a culture like a civilization with more evolution is going to be less violent. Theory, dude, as of so far, like it's proven that that's not true. The Spaniards didn't come here and spread peace and
But that's
gospel.
a pretty bad example. No offense, it's a pretty
Yeah,
bad.
'cause we're
offense because
human, so-
we're human, but we're such a young. Like realistically, if you look at it, like we're
young
not.
species.
Yeah, we're not.
young,
We
right?
haven't been
Yeah.
around long
We're so-
enough to.
we're
Yeah.
all
If you look at the
dumb,
timeline of like
Yeah.
the Big Bang and now, we're like
Oh,
not
yeah.
even
Yeah.
a
Like a
speck.
speck,
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
like, if you're talking about evolution being like, 100 years, probably not a possibility. But if you're
Yeah.
talking about 10,000 years, if the human race is still around in 10,000 years, I have a chance. I really have faith.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
I believe that we're getting to the point like with the creation of the internet and stuff. Now we're having like a hive mind.
It's
You know,
like
it's like the
we're the
Matrix.
baby,
You know,
yeah.
but like the baby of the Matrix
That's
right
right.
now, where everybody.
right. That's
That's
right.
why I said if dudes are fucking up the planet or doing shit, we need to call them out. They need to be on the fucking global
Front page,
stage,
yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
and then everybody's got to decide. Then everybody gets to vote. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do to stop this? What are we gonna do to fucking, you know?
But
It's like Koenig 20 fucking 12.
But the thing is, was that I think we're already doing that. It's just right now the biggest problem is that the media still controls so much of what we see and hear that they're able to squash it really quickly.
Yeah.
like that whole Gulf of Mexico thing with the oil spill, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things that were omitted is that, first of all, before when you were drilling offshore, you needed a special kind of a cap on the well, so that would have prevented that oil spill. But the Bush government removed that standard because it would save drilling companies time and money, right? So that's what allowed that break to happen and that oil to spill into the Gulf. Second of all, that whole incident is still happening. There's still oil being spewed into the Gulf of Mexico. Nobody knows about it. Fukushima is
Well,
still
you
leaking.
know about it.
I know. Fukushima is still leaking radiation,
Absolutely, yeah.
right?
There's a lot of
But
stuff.
Oh
there's
yeah,
a lot of
you've
things
seen
that-
those videos
yeah.
of the amount of fucking plastic garbage in the oceans?
Yeah, like
miles and miles and miles of like.
but that's the thing. What I'm talking about though is that everybody knows. Like, say for example, there's a big fucking pile of plastic, buddy. I can look around this shop, and I'm not picking on you because if you go to my house, it's the same. If I go to your house, it's the same.
Yeah.
Everybody's house is the same.
90% of the shit in there is plastic that's gonna
Oh, yeah.
not be like it's gonna end up in that fucking pile,
Yeah.
right? So technically, and not only that, but so we've been distracted by this ocean thing. Like I said, dude, Fukushima is still leaking radiation. So that means that all the fish in that part of the ocean are all contaminated. Everything is contaminated. People
Yeah.
we don't want to believe that, and we don't want to see it, and you don't hear it.
Well,
Right?
like it goes back. All goes back to money.
Yeah.
It
Look at-
goes back to money. Money. They don't want to.
Well, you even
to
look at,
wreck
like-
that because
like-
of money.
Yeah, of course.
Like
Chernobyl spewed out radiation for what is it, 2 weeks before they told anybody that there was an accident?
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Right.
they knew that this was gonna
Oh
happen.
yeah, they knew exactly what was happening. They had people going in there with no fucking protective gear whose skin was melting off, man.
That's right.
Right? Because it was damaging them cellularly. But this is what I mean. Like, yeah, you're right. It will. We will get better. We'll get more in quotations woke about this kind of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
But we need to stop listening to mainstream media telling you that this is the problem, guys. The problem right now is Venezuela. No, man. The problem is the fuel economy.
well, that's the
Right?
thing.
We're being distracted all the time.
Well, that's the thing. It's like for us, we see that shit, right? Because we're. I don't like to use the word woke, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
that's what I
But,
said, same
but that's the
quotation.
thing. But the thing is, there's people. We still have the generation above us who still watch TV. Like I don't
Right.
I don't even have cable. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
right? You know, like they watch TV and whatever the news tells them,
They believe.
They believe. Whatever. There's people that still read newspapers. Like who the
Fucking
fuck
crazy.
still buys newspaper? You know, like
That's-
you know,
that's
like
exactly the
that's the
people
thing. With our generation, we have to and then we have to pass it on to the next generation. Where
We're
like
on the right path. Though.
Okay,
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
So then, this question was actually asked to me, and it was actually a really smart question. But I'll start off with Les. Where do you get your news from?
I take a lot of time to search the media, like internet for it, and I search it actually under .ru, .cn, like for China, Russia. I search Europe. I search all the stuff to get kind of the facts. I don't just go on the internet and look up that thing and believe what I read. I do my due diligence. It takes a little longer, but I know I'm going to get the more vast majority of what's
Yeah.
true.
Okay, so Soup.
I go on Reddit.
Reddit's
Reddit's
a
my
good spot,
source.
though.
Reddit's good because like if something comes on, there's somebody that's gonna call out bullshit.
people from
I go
around
into
the world.
comics, the comments, and I read the comments
Yeah.
to see who because like there's a lot of news sources that it's like, worldnews.ieu where it's like this is a bullshit fucking.
Oh, yeah, it's clickbait.
Yeah, it's clickbait shit,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
I,
so
I like Reddit because it's
Yeah.
a lot of
I'm the same. I'm the same as both you guys. I do a combination of both. I
Yeah.
will look
or
for
YouTube.
I will look at
uh,
the initial story. I won't form an opinion until I do a little bit
Yeah.
more research,
Yeah.
and then same thing. Then I'll jump on Reddit and see if anybody else.
And I follow
Yeah.
a lot of guys
Yeah.
on like YouTube that I find
Yeah.
to be reliable
Yeah.
that aren't biased.
or
Yeah.
pushing some kind of agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's
you know,
exactly
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
The reason why it was smart when some person asked me this is because he's a younger dude too. He's younger than us, and he solely gets his news from the internet. He doesn't get it from anywhere else.
Yeah.
He does not watch TV.
Yeah.
He doesn't read a newspaper.
Me neither. Yeah.
None of that shit. So this guy literally is the generation under us,
Yeah.
and all he's constantly doing is searching the internet for his news.
Yeah.
So I
Which
feel,
is good, though.
dude, which is the way it should be, right? That's what the internet is for. That's the liberating part of this. And
Yeah.
you don't have to be a slave to these old,
And also
old ways of getting news.
and also the thing is like with news now there's dialogue, right? There's people on one side and then there's people on the other side, so you can pick and choose what you feel like. For me, I'm a logical dude, right? I don't believe in you got to have proof. You have to have evidence.
When you hit it, bang, it hits my mic.
so
You gotta have
bang
proof.
fucking table. You
You gotta have proof. You gotta have
Order!
and it has to make sense to me, right? You
Yeah.
know, so that's my thing. Right now, there's so much like identity politics bullshit, and it's a tribal thing, right? And it's like,
But it's
But-
also so much. It's so in. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's
That's
so
okay.
much stuff that it's agenda pushing. Money's already behind all these systems and all these things.
yeah, that's the thing. That they're making money off of.
That's right.
They're making money off of this, right? Like you look at they're trying to impeach Trump with the Mueller report, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy came out, and it turns out that he wasn't colluding with the Russians and whatever, right? And then their thing was like, oh, the report came back false because you didn't do it properly, Meanwhile, the guy's like the head of the FBI.
Yeah.
He interviewed subpoenaed it
but the problem was with that though is also he was appointed by Trump because he fired the last head of the FBI.
Yeah. There's a lot. That whole
But,
thing.
but the thing is, here's the thing. So did you guys ever see that CNN thing that happened with the college?
the Covington.
No, there was a college that they started tweeting that there was like an active shooter on campus.
Yeah.
And there was like, say, 50 students that started doing this. So
Okay.
CNN jumps on the
I
fucking
did
thing,
say, yeah.
jumps on the air and starts saying it's an active shooter, and then they're playing videos from the old shootings and stuff like that. They're just constantly just playing this stuff. Dude, there was no such thing. They literally made it up to see if CNN would cover it.
Oh yeah.
It was completely bullshit. It was
Yeah.
complete bullshit, and CNN was reporting it.
That was
as
just
factual.
recently, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it was factual. They made it like as is if it, like correspondence on the ground and blah blah blah. And
See, like,
these are
that's the
tweets
thing,
are coming
they're-
up. So just to let you know, like that, dude, you cannot trust the media, right? Like, this is just saying,
Well, that's
like,
the thing. It's not. Those guys are not media. They're activists.
Yeah, they're
right?
activists.
They have an agenda that they're trying to push. They're not. They're totally biased. They hate Trump. So anything, all the news that they come out with is biased. They just
It's biased, but you also have to remember too that all these media stations have their own audiences. Like they have
yeah, for
their own
sure.
their own platform.
it's almost like a sitcom kind of thing.
It's a sitcom. So what they're doing is they feed in and feed the people what they want to hear. So if you're going to listen to the news or listen to the media, then listen to all of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to listen to all.
that's the thing.
Educated
Opinion.
You can't listen to one because then all you're doing is it becomes like you're just feeding your own.
That's like they have they just came out. They apparently the Russians have spy whales.
Oh no, it was
Was it a whale?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the beluga whales.
Beluga whales
Yeah,
that were
yeah.
spies?
Yeah, yeah.
Like they
were-
trained them to
yeah,
be spies?
Yeah, no, but dude, the thing is,
Is that real?
No, no, but
what?
the thing was is that apparently the Navy, the U.S. Navy was training dolphins to carry. To mark to water mines, like the underwater, like the ocean mines. So they would take these dolphins would take these specialized things, drop down, see where these mines were, release them, and as it released, it would shoot up, and it was like a flag or a buoy that fucking would mark where this thing was, so that the ships and the submarines would know how to avoid it.
Huh.
So then what happened was they found these beluga whales on the coast of I forgot where, and they had some weird electronic fucking backpacks on them. And they were
Really?
like, yeah, and there was like Soviet technology. Like these guys are literally like using beluga whales to fucking like listen to the ocean or some shit, or like to track like enemy submarines and shit.
That's fucked up. Kind of smart though.
I know. I mean, if you're gonna use an animal,
I'm not saying for like the rights of the animal. I'm saying it's very Russian.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Very,
Dude.
very
Yeah,
Russian.
yeah. You're talking to a group of people that fucking the Bay of Pigs, right? Like as soon as there was a problem with fucking the U.S. government, the first thing they did was send nukes to fucking Cuba, right? They started shipping nuclear weapons to Cuba, saying, "Don't worry, Cuba, we got your back." But yeah, man, yeah, we live in a weird fucking time, man. This
is a
is
weird time.
such a weird time right now.
Well-
this is probably the most. This is probably the time frame that there's the most knowledge available, and we still don't know what to do with it.
That's why it's so weird. That's why it's so weird. I think it's because we are truly becoming a global nation. Like it's everyone has access to so much information. Can say whatever they want, do whatever they want. It's like bam, right at your fingertips all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just so new to everyone.
Yeah.
No one really knows how to handle this.
Well, that's exactly what that's the CNN experiment, right? Like, the thing is that people always also need to remember one thing: does CNN show commercials?
Not really.
They do. If you see the bottoms,
Yeah, but they don't. do,
yeah,
like, commercials.
yeah. But do they sell commercial space? So now there's vested interest, right? Because there's money.
But everyone sells commercials.
Exactly. So that's my point. My point is exactly that: is that if there's money involved, you'll never get the true story. You never will.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna, dude. If
You'll be
you
biased.
yeah, if
biased.
I'm running a fucking ammunitions company and there's a shooting, I'm gonna tell you, hey, listen, man, you own this network. I put fucking $20 million of advertisement into your company. You can't report on shootings because it drops my fucking price point down.
That's right.
And they stop reporting on them.
That's the problem with the media right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are figuring that out now. You know, since Trump's in power.
Yeah.
A lot of people are figuring that out now.
Yeah.
But
But that's exactly my point. And my point is that you don't. Unfortunately, when money corrupts everything, right? At the end of
Yeah.
the day,
Well, because of our capitalism minds, though.
politics,
Power.
politics will change. People's opinions will change. A lot of things change, man, because of that. You'll never get the actual news story because the news companies protect their fucking investors.
and
Man.
we'll never know
Plain
the
and simple.
truth because everyone's battling back and forth. telling
What's
their
about
own
ratings?
Exactly.
It's about ratings, right? They'll
absolutely.
push an agenda. Just
That's right.
they don't give a shit if it's true or not.
Yeah.
No, they
They
don't
push that
fucking care.
agenda, right?
Absolutely not.
If you tell enough people one thing, they'll believe it as truth.
Yeah, and especially like can you picture this, like the old. It must have been just a heyday for media companies back in the day, like when my dad and mom were like, you go back 20 years ago and just they got everything they got off TV.
Yeah.
Like how
Oh, man,
easy
if
how
you-
easy was that for
If
them?
you
Well,
go back,
exactly.
you even go back like
The newspapers.
even
10
go
years,
back
10
like
years.
before that, where it's like fucking they had that the promo for War of the Worlds.
Oh, yeah,
right,
yeah.
and they had it like they made it so it was like a emergency broadcast. And people actually believed that they were getting invaded by aliens
Oh,
back in like the 1950s,
Yeah,
right?
it was a radio. It was a radio
Right?
thing. It was a radio advertisement. But even back in the day, man, like, what you had newspapers and people would say, dude, clickbait is as old as the newspaper.
Yeah, that's
Because
what it is.
people would put shit on the tagline.
Just revamped.
Yeah,
it's
they
a
just,
new
exactly.
modern way.
Exactly. It's the same thing because people would put that's what headline news are.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Why do you think
clickbait.
the Inquirer is still around?
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully-
My grandma
and
used
it's
to watch
total
it, read
bullshit,
that.
right?
Hopefully,
Like-
how about
People know
Global
us.
Mail?
Yeah,
Global
Global
Mail.
Mail and that choir.
Never mind. How about the Winnipeg Sun?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, what's it called? The Globe Mail or Mail? What is it? Not, was it
Globe and Mail, Globe
yeah,
Mail.
No, not Globe and Mail.
That's the real one.
Yeah. The other one's Globe Mail. That's the Bat Boy one.
Yeah, that's
Right?
right. Yeah.
I
My
mean,
grandma used to
I'm
get
glad-
both those, but I think they knew. I think people know those are just false, right?
I know they do it. It was what's it called? What's that fucking? I forgot the term, man, for that kind of humor. Oh shit, I forgot, man. But there's that type of humor that does that, where you essentially say, "Oh, Donald Trump has been caught with his gay Mexican lover, refuses to build wall now."
It's like a
Yeah.
like a real thing, comic book or whatever. Like,
Yeah. They
it's like
make
a
it. They essentially make it exactly like a news story, except it's all fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But
That's not the problem, though. you
yeah,
know?
exactly. That's what creates the whole problem. Because now you tell 20 million Americans that Bat Boy exists, they're going to fucking search caves to see if they find one too.
Yeah.
Right?
But even still, with the whole thing with Donald Trump stuff, like there's so many stories. Like, I don't even know anymore, like, what really is true. Like, I know from the research I got, but do I know that's even real?
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
exactly it.
And it's almost like that, maybe that's the agenda.
Yeah.
To make
Well-
us just be like, fuck, we don't know anymore.
But that's the problem is that you'll never know.
Oh, yeah, that's
we'll
a-
never know the actual.
That's the
truth,
thing.
right?
We're supposed. They're trying to dumb us down, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why there's fucking American Idol. There's Instagram, right?
Yeah.
They want to make you stupid. They want you to just
sit there.
fucking sit
Yeah,
there
go
and
to work.
fucking zombie out, right? And
Yeah.
not think for yourself or not question things.
Well,
and-
you just it's almost get to a point where you can't even think for yourself anymore because you don't even know anymore what to think.
Hey,
You know?
remember when Les told you not to fucking hit the table?
that was him. That was him.
I know.
Did I hit the table? Did I hit the table?
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
Stop hitting the table
I would have did it when he hit the table.
because he's Asian.
Oh, I didn't hit it as hard enough. Didn't hit it hard enough.
It's because they make these electronics.
Yeah, we communicate.
But yeah, no. That's the thing, and that's exactly it. As long as there's an agenda to be pushed, man, where can you really trust? Where can you really turn
it's
to?
just power, right? Like everybody's trying to maintain power, and that in the end, like once you have so much money that it doesn't matter anymore. What's next? Power, being in control.
Yeah.
First, you
being,
get the
know-
power.
The power.
First, you
The
get the
power.
money. Then you get the power. Then you get the pussy. Manolo, shoot this piece of shit.
That's funny. I got another thing, a little off topic, unless we want to.
Yeah, let's switch it, man. Let's switch it. We've been. I think we went on the
Getting
fucking
a little political.
Yeah. What about?
You know what happens when we get political? When we have to, you know who we have to invite?
Yeah. Who's that?
This guy's brother-in-law, man.
Oh yeah, Gino.
Oh
So Trudeau, what do you guys think about it?
no, there was.
We love you, Gino. Just joking, buddy.
Yeah, if you're tuning in, Gino, we love you. No, we were at last night. We went to Rumors in Winnipeg at the comedy club, and we saw Jay Farrell. I think his
Yeah.
name is Farrell. Yeah, that's his name. He does impressions and stuff like that. So we were coming home. I was talking to my wife, and I was saying, like, it's funny. Do you think that everyone can obtain or anyone can do anything, or is there people that
No,
have
you
prodigies?
can't do anything. No.
I feel
Everybody,
like, yeah.
Maybe
not
we'll go
everybody.
go first. Yeah.
No, not everybody. It's like I see these things where it's like there's a girl on YouTube. She's got some kind of deformity on her face, right? It's like she's got like some kind of like weird thing, like, right? And then you see a lot of comments. It's always like, "Oh, you're beautiful," and I feel like you're just being disingenuous. You're just it's for your own.
Yeah.
Because she's not.
She obviously
beautiful,
knows.
Who's that ugly bitch?
Yeah.
Well,
No, she's
that
that
guy
face
actually
is fucked
cares.
up. But that's the thing though, is like in my opinion is like not everybody has to be beautiful.
No.
Not every you have to love yourself for who you are. You don't have to be not everybody like when you look at like some people are like, oh, there's one where a guy's doing karate, right? And he's got like no arms,
Oh,
no
the Humpty
legs.
Dumpty one.
Yeah, right. He's got no arms, no legs, and everybody's
I
oh,
commented
you're
on that
such
one,
an
man.
inspiration and stuff like that. And it's like,
Guy's wearing a
not
black belt.
really. It's like,
Yeah.
Dude, he looks
know
like
what
Humpty Dumpty. He's like fighting back against the fucking horsemen. All the
It's like-
king's horses and all the king's men.
What?
They have to put his ass back together when he gets his ass kicked because he actually
I get it.
because he actually thinks he's got a fucking black belt in karate.
like, what would he do if I kicked him in the head? Like, he can't block it. He's got no arms.
I mean,
Well,
have you never watched soccer?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's going back to him and saying like, not everybody, stop with the fake.
No, but that's
You know,
not what I was kind
let's-
of going.
no,
with.
no. See, here's the thing.
That's different because that's like
Yeah.
that's a defect.
Here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
like every human that's like
No.
all of us,
Here's the
we
thing.
all do the same thing. We put our minds to it.
Here's the thing. I'd really like to draw, to be able to draw. Okay, I really would. It's one of and I've picked up a pen and I've tried and I practiced for a little bit and you get a little bit better. But for example, Soup can draw,
Right.
right? It was always just something you could do.
Yeah.
Right. So it for me, if you given me 20 years, I may have gotten maybe 10% better. When if you give Soup 3 weeks, he'll get 80% better.
Okay. Now this is the question though. So
Yeah.
he has more of a natural talent.
Yeah.
But can you train yourself to have all the best artists give you other things to get just as good or better?
No.
I agree. That's my argument.
Well,
with the
that's
same thing.
no,
that's
I don't
there's,
think so.
there's certain things in your brain where like I could teach you guys how to draw. I could teach you guys how to do like portraits and stuff like that. But the thing is, you would never have the creative aspect of it. Like your brain doesn't think.
Sure,
Like it's
absolutely.
like, for example, you guys are good at like I like cars. I like but when you start talking to me about engines and like you might as well like I'm
Yeah.
just starting staring into space
Yeah.
when you start like I don't know, like I have a general understanding of how engines work, but I'm not like it's not like I can
Yeah.
take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah.
You know, but you could do that. You guys could do that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of everybody
Well,
has a
unless you pay somebody to do
specific.
that.
Right, yeah, there's capitalism.
But everybody has a specific. Their brain works in
Yeah.
a specific
Sure.
way. Right? It's like the left or the right side of
Yeah.
your
Well,
brain.
That's the
Right?
thing is we have like children prodigies that
Mm-hmm.
can sing at like 6 or 7, right? Like they're gifted with something to do that. But my wife was saying like, no, anyone can do that stuff.
No.
And I don't
That is
think so
true.
either. I don't think it's a possibility.
Well, that's the thing. Anybody can do it, but you can't do it good. You know what I
You'll-
mean?
you'll
Like
never
I can
reach
learn how
the
to
level.
like if you guys taught me, eventually I'll be able to fix a car.
Yes.
But I will never be able. You guys can like troubleshoot like, oh that the it's making this sound.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
it's this part that's wrong, or you know it's backfiring. So this is the piece that you guys know that. But me, I would just be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
We don't know how to do gradients on fucking shadowing, but we know how
Yeah.
to fucking
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I get it, and you know, I agree. Like the same thing with me. Like I can like I'll say this. I say this loosely, but I can sing, right?
Right. That's how this talk.
And the thing was is that so I've never taken a vocal coaching lesson in my life, other than what my brother has taught me.
Who
along the
wants to
way.
hear Vic sing?
I can't sing today. Listen to my voice, man. I'm just getting over it. I'm getting on a cold, not even over it, man.
Yeah.
But I've never taken a vocal course in my life,
Yeah.
right? It's just something that I could do,
Right.
right? And at the same time, like Soup said, I could coach you and I could get you better at singing, but at the same time, how could I do that if I've never formally taken anything? Like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just kind of fly by the
Well, that's
seat
the
of my
thing. Like
pants kind of
you
thing.
could teach somebody. Like I could teach somebody to play a guitar, for example, right? But you would never be able to play it well, or
Oh,
be
you'd
able
never
to
be able to
like
play a
you,
song.
you can't be creative with
you'd
it.
never be able to write a song.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you know,
That's right.
like I could teach you to play songs, but you would never be able to make your own song, or you would never like it's same with singing. Like you look at somebody who's like Beyonce, for example, or Mariah Carey,
Or Victor.
They
Or Vic.
just they just it's just
They
in
have
them
it.
to
They
do
have
it,
it. It's
right?
a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift. Yeah.
And that's what I believe too. I think certain people have certain abilities that are better than everyone
Mm-hmm.
else's.
Becky is saying she's having wine with Nicole.
Oh, right on. Ask Nicole what she thinks about
Yeah,
this.
to post it
Well,
on
that's the thing. Like, yeah,
message.
everybody can learn anything, but you can't be good at it. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Or
I
you-
think everybody's got their
Yeah.
their niche. Everybody's got their talent, right?
Yeah.
There's people that like I said, that like building cars. Like I like
Yeah.
vehicles, but I don't have the patience to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right. As the same thing with you. Like you can draw, dude. You fucking amazing artist. But at the same time, do an oil change in your car,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I could do an oil change, but I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, no,
You know, some
exactly.
guys like fucking tinkering,
yeah, man. Yeah,
tinkering,
yeah.
putting engines together.
Yeah,
like,
see,
I think that's half the battle a lot of times too. Is that was her point, I think, too, is what she's saying yesterday, is like you thrive in the things that you enjoy doing, so that makes you better.
yeah.
You know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I you know, like that's one of my on my bucket list is one day I want to build a bike, like a motorcycle, build it from scratch. Like I really like bobbers. I like, you know, so that's one thing I want to learn. Like just, you know, small engine build, and like I think that's something that I could do, and I think I would enjoy that too. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking that like, there's no way that I could, because one thing that I wish I could do is sing. I wish I could sing. Like I wish that I could.
Me too.
Have a really good. Then we get sort of bad, man.
you play bass there.
Yeah.
Slap in the bass. Slap in the bass.
Yeah, I told him a story last time about that. But yeah, no, I can't do that. But I'm very personal. I'm very good at sales. I'm very good at being a capitalist. I'm very good at making more money or doing those avenues and things like that. But I'm not creative at all. Like I can't fucking draw. I can't sing.
But that's the thing. Like you kind of have to wire your brain to do that
But the
at a young age.
Yeah,
right?
the
Like,
funny thing is
Yeah.
that that's exactly it. Like, I've kind of been like doing a lot of like inner searching the last little bit, and it's funny because I have this really key, like I remember lyrics very quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, some people have that. My sister's the
Right,
same way.
like I can pick up lyrics on songs very quickly, and
Yeah.
then I start thinking to myself like, why, like where did that come from? And I remember as a kid growing up, my mom would always fuck with me, and she would always change the lyrics to songs, and she'd go, "No, that's the fucking lyric," and I'd be like, "No, that's not what they say." She goes, "Yeah." So then it made me listen to the songs harder, and then now it's just built into my head that I just recognize the lyrics.
So
and
you
I
pick
fucking-
it up as a young age.
Yeah. So my mom kind of wired me that way.
That's interesting. And that's another thing we were talking about. I brought up, I'm like, well, if you think that prodigy or having like these special people in the world are not really a thing and anyone can do anything, I said, how do you explain like Einstein or people like, people that
Or
change the
no,
world?
but there's a few instances where there was one guy, he fucking he was a helicopter pilot, right? And he fucking
Magic
got
Mike.
hit with the fucking part of his brain, right? He got brain damage, and then when he came out of the coma, he had an urge to be a sculptor. And this guy was never artistic or anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he fucking was sculpting like huge statues, like just
There's
fucking
a
off the top of
ability
his
so
head.
you can tap
Right,
into.
yeah,
I believe.
that's what I mean. Like,
But your brain's not
brain-
wired a certain way.
Yeah.
There was a guy. There was a I forgot if he was a doctor or if he was a scientist or something, but he had this belief that there's a shared global consciousness. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Yeah.
So there's essentially like a neural net of consciousness above everything else. So he believed that if we could tap into that, you could download knowledge into your brain. So this guy would literally sit there and put himself in a trance or a meditative state and teach himself how to speak another language.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be speaking it fluently, but he'd be able to tell you a couple sentences in a language that he's never heard of before.
Yeah.
So he would do weird things like that, or I feel like that is also true. Like as we grow as a civilization, we upload knowledge into like this global thing.
Well, we are for sure now
Right.
through like all the.
Well, that's the
Right?
thing, like-
because there's certain things that you already know. Like for example, you
Like genetically, you
you
mean.
show a flame to a baby and it startles it.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to fucking go, hey, what the fuck is that? No,
No, babies
you-
do well.
No, most of the time they get startled by certain things.
I don't
Right?
know with that one.
Animals do it more. I should have used a better example.
Animals for
do it
sure.
more.
Animals have that
do it
instinct.
more.
Well, it's because it's passed on in the genetics,
Genetics,
right?
yeah.
They
Genetically,
understand
yeah.
like
is it genetic?
you know,
Is it genetic
it's
makeup?
built in your DNA.
Or is
Yeah.
it like I said, this like global thing where they know how to do this a lot better than we do?
Whichever way.
Yeah, at the end of the
Whichever way
day,
is similar.
At the end of the day, one of our consciousness or the ability that what we have, the way we think and the way we work, also dumbs us down in a way.
Well,
sure.
It's because
Right?
it's also our education system, right? Like we're taught to.
It's just shit.
Well, that's the thing. We're taught to read and write and do math and shit.
Yeah.
But we're not taught how to socialize.
Yeah,
how to control yourself. How to
Look how-
personal advancements. Things like that. That's what should be taught. Right?
Look how more imaginative your kids were before going to school,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If anything school's done is they removed a little bit of their imagination. Right?
Yeah, like that's one thing I agree.
Well,
with.
no,
Our
no,
schooling system.
it's not even-
It's not even the schooling system. I think in gaining knowledge we lose either a connection to something else or we start losing that trait in ourselves. As we pack on knowledge, we also remove almost like we remove feeling. We remove emotion by learning knowledge.
Well, I think it's more of like you start to be when you're at home and you're a kid, nothing matters, right? But then as you get to school, now you're starting to be self-conscious.
Yeah, schedules
You know,
and
you're
this.
worried about what other people are gonna think,
but
and then
that's-
you start to
is-
filter yourself more and more.
But is that
That's
a
what it starts
problem?
blogging.
But is that a problem? Or,
I
or-
think it's a total problem.
It's a
yeah.
problem
It's
more than it
definitely
is.
a
Yeah,
problem.
that's
Yeah.
what I mean, right? Like that's what kind of I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is that if we weren't given certain expectations, or if we didn't have these certain expectations, how much more creative would most people be? How much more empathetic would people be?
Well, I think a lot of it too is like we have to teach people that it's okay to not be right. It's okay to not have the answers, right?
Like-
It's okay to like when you're like you don't put up your hand when the teachers ask a question because you don't want to look dumb if you ask,
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay to be wrong. It's
Yeah.
okay to falter is
Yeah.
human, right?
It's a very
that's
it's
the
a,
thing.
it's a very slippery slope of a trade-off though. So yeah, you could say
you
you
can't
can
say that to an Asian man.
Yeah. Sorry. It's a very slippery slope to have that trade-off. Like the trade-off is you can revamp the system of letting people think more freely, and but then they also could fail in how the society and how the world is already built. So you have someone that's very, as a young age, that you don't have the structure, you don't have the schedules, but that kind of eliminates that free thinking,
Yeah.
and it doesn't let people think so free.
Well,
but
well,
now
that-
when they go through, it's up to the parents more. So,
well,
but now
yeah.
the thing is, parents are so irresponsible. It's not. They're not. They
They're
don't
going
have
the
that.
other way now, though. The problem is, here's the thing. So, they have these gender neutral kids, right? And nothing wrong with that. Okay, but the thing is like, oh, you can't play with trucks because you're a boy. Don't play with trucks just because you're a boy.
I don't know if that's majority, but
No,
that's
no,
part of people
I'm
are
just saying though. But what they're doing is they're already putting in their own beliefs towards these kids. They're not letting this kid decide on his own.
Yeah.
So they think that they're making this kid freer, but actually they're putting in more restrictions.
Yeah, they're taking away faster.
Right? They're taking away more restrictions.
Now self-conscious
They think that they're making them better as a human by saying, no, listen, you be whatever you want to be. But at the same time, they're saying, but don't do that because boys do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's what I see, anyways. I see. Their intentions are what I'm trying to say is to let them be a little bit more liberal, a little bit more free. But they're in that freedom right now. We don't know how to approach that because we've never given that. We've never given that option.
I think it's today's society is too liberal. You know, there's not enough ass beatings.
No,
I
know. That's not
the
what
kids are not getting their ass kicked enough. You know,
maybe
like,
I said that wrong. Maybe I worded it wrong. But for example, like when Matthias was growing up, he used to every once in a while, he wanted to be, for example, a panda.
yeah.
So he'd put on a panda costume all day. Yeah. And I'd let him. And we'd go out and fucking dude would be a panda. Plain and simple. Be a panda. What the fuck do I care? Oh, people would look at him funny. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
People's opinions don't matter to me.
Yeah.
It's his imagination that matters.
There should be more, I don't know if you can hear me now, but there should be more parents like that.
There should be more parents like that, as was less to say.
Be allowed.
Yeah,
Be okay.
of course. And not only that, but as a society, if you see a kid dressed up as a superhero, you should acknowledge him. You should see a yeah, exactly. You should.
Well, it's like
if you see a kid. No, I know. But that's the problem, right? See, that the problem is that as adults, we've been accustomed and we've been kind of told, don't do that. You look ridiculous.
Not that. I think it's maybe dangerous to the kid.
Yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying, though, right? Like in keeping his imagination alive, I had no, like, he wasn't making me look like a dick because he's walking around in a fucking costume. I wasn't embarrassed. I wanted him to be like that. You know what I mean? I wanted him to be be a panda. Fuck, I'll put on my onesie, we'll go. You be fucking panda, I'll be Pikachu. Fuck you, let's do this shit. Let's do this shit. I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of that is being lost. Like, a lot of parents are like, oh, you're going to embarrass me, man. You're embarrassing me.
Yeah.
Right? And people fucking do that, man. And it's just, that's what's slowly draining this fucking...
Well, that's the thing, like, it's fucking, you know, not everybody is fucking as woke. You know, goes back to woke, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like my daughter, you know, when she was younger, I'm like, wear whatever you want, you know, like dress yourself, whatever. And she would wear like the craziest outfits, right? Like nothing matched, everything was loud and shit. And it's, to me, it's like, that's, you know, that's her personality. That's what she wants to wear. Cool. You know, I don't, it's, to me, it's funny, right? But I never deterred that. I was never like,
well, that's exactly.
Oh, you know, your shit doesn't match. Go change, or you know.
No, exactly.
Like, you know?
No, exactly. And that's one of the things that I really liked about Matthias is exactly that. Is that guy would wear fucking whatever. Dude, he was a pirate for a day, man. He's literally wearing an eye patch, man, like fucking walking around with a fake sword. Dude, you know how much I love that, man? Yeah. I miss that now because, once again, he went to school and now he's a little bit more self-conscious. Yeah. He doesn't want to be a pirate.
Exactly, yeah.
He wants to be the cool kid.
Yeah.
Right? So... it kind of, you know, it breaks your heart a little bit, man, to see the imagination start to leave, because not because of he doesn't want to do it anymore, but because other people kind of gave the kids,
like, whoa, you're weird.
Yeah,
why are you weirdo?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you being weird?
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if I can leave anything with anybody, man, let your kids be free, man. Just fucking give them guidelines, give them guidelines, give them rules. I'm not telling you not to fucking spank their asses.
Well, I mean,
but nurture their imagination, man. The world needs more thinkers. Doesn't need any more fucking people making multi-million-dollar companies.
Yeah,
it needs fucking people that believe, people that love each other, people that fucking have empathy.
We need more leaders and followers.
Let them be themselves, man. Like let him fucking be a pirate, man. And if you see a kid at school and he's dressed like a fucking pirate, say "arr" or some bullshit, man, and walk away. Don't laugh at him. Don't point, man.
even going not as crazy as that with like outfits. If someone's different, where like is they like computer games or they like whatever, who cares? Like it should be better.
Dude, if there's a 45-year-old guy waiting at fucking EB Games for the fucking thing,
whatever,
man. Listen, don't make fun of him. He's already going back to his mom's house.
This is the problem.
I know. I'm just joking.
This is the problem. Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though, like. I don't know why we feel like we're better than other people, or because you live a certain standard of life, you know. Like I don't know, man.
And I think we're right on like saying that. I think school does that.
Because it's a control thing. You think about it. Yeah. It's so outdated. You know,
it is.
Like the school that we went, our kids are still doing the same curriculum as we did, right?
Yeah. I got one thing to say about this. What's the number one thing, the first thing you're ever taught at school?
I pointed at the screen. I was like, "What?
Yeah. What's the first thing you're taught at school?
You're taught to stay quiet and
Yeah, sit.
No,
and be
first
quiet.
thing even before that. Think about that. Before that,
I don't know.
stand in line.
Oh, stand in line. Wait.
Alright, what?
Just stand in
when
line.
the when the bell goes,
You're taught to
go
stand
in.
line.
Yeah,
when the
so-
bell goes, it's lunchtime. That's training you for
Work.
back in the industrial age, right?
Yeah.
The
But
factory days.
Stand in
right?
line,
When
punch
the
your
bell
time
goes, punch your
card.
clock.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
the
what
number
that's
one
what
thing.
schooling is. In they give you the basic. If you look at it, what it is giving the basic skills of life so you can go into the workforce to pay more tax. And
Yeah.
that's what the whole system's. It's
Oh,
designed. It's designed that way.
You're
on
designed
purpose.
to obey.
It's designed on
And,
purpose, yeah. It's on purpose.
It's not making you grow. It's just give you
It's
the
a-
basic skills.
Yeah.
So that
and that's where it's flawed. And I think that if
Oh, that's
if
super flawed.
it was
Oh, sorry, man. I missed Caleb's comment here. He probably wrote it like an hour ago. You smoke a bowl for me all you want, buddy. This guy's not doing shit. So smoke bowls, drink beers, do whatever you got to do, because fuck, more for you guys, the less it's going to be for me, man. Trust me.
Yeah.
Homie's on 17 days sober, buddy, and we're counting here, so.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is that everyone has to keep in mind when we're woke, like you said. I can see that is that this structure, this plan, the thing, the higher people that put this in order for everybody. This is all a procedure. It's a plan to have all the kids go through school, all the people go through school, get the basic training, and go out there. It's not.
Well,
It's not targeted for the creative minds. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
targeted for just to get their money at
For,
the end of
no,
that.
it's target
Yeah.
for
And
you to
that's the
be
problem.
to stand in line
Yeah.
and obey. And that's why I said like this is what I think we should do. You teach kids math, English, read and write, all that up until up until junior high, right? And
Yeah.
then when you get to high school is when you start deciding what trade you want to do.
You should teach them how to make shanks and
Like if you want to be
Whatever.
a,
free.
a doctor or a lawyer, that's free, right? Because and then
You start going into
yeah,
that
you
stuff.
started going into that. Start special.
And-
By the time you graduate high school, you are like that's the problem is
Focused on that.
high school now. You start your career after high school,
Yeah.
and then half the time it's like fuck it.
what the fuck did I
You
do?
go like 4 years,
Yeah.
5 years in university, and then you're like, I don't fucking like
But
this.
that-
you know,
that's-
and then you've blown. Now you're in debt. Now you're fucking.
And you've
blown
blown 7 years of your life.
Yeah.
The problem too is though that could not be the answer because a lot of people when they're young don't really have a thing. You know what they.
Well, that's the
wanna
thing.
do, right? So-
You if you have by the time you're in high school, have some sort of passion, right?
You should.
You know what I mean?
You should, but some people don't.
Masturbation.
But some people don't. But that's okay though. But majority
Masturbation, yeah.
majority will. You know what I mean?
Majority
like,
will. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's
you know?
true.
Like those people go to tech, take mechanics, or
Well, that being said, I went to tech and I took electrical.
yeah.
And I'm doing the farthest thing from that now.
I was like,
Yeah, but, you,
Yeah, I know.
but,
I didn't
but
know
that's a
about it.
skill that you
but
still
the thing is
use,
that
right?
it was so if I would have known, so there's a few things. If I would have known then kind of what I know now, hindsight's 2020, but geeky gamma girl, kids should be taught how to invest and save and do taxes before they learn about components of a cell.
I totally agree.
Agree,
you know what?
That's the thing. You're not
Peop-
taught. You're not taught how to manage your money.
Normal
Ye-
management or
Yeah,
things like-
money
I agree.
management.
So
you're not taught
here's the
that. That's
thing.
another important skill.
And I was talking about this earlier, and you guys kind of laughed. I'll say back, dude. I literally went to the bank did yesterday for the first time in like fucking 4 or 5 years, and I didn't even know my account. Like I didn't know my fucking membership number. I knew none of that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I literally, dude. I don't know how to write a check.
Wow.
I don't.
I can
Like
teach you.
I know.
can teach you.
I know.
This guy,
And-
this guy's gonna survive in the apocalypse. Can't even
Dude,
write a fucking
listen,
check.
I don't know how to write. I don't know, dude. Why the fuck are you writing checks in the apocalypse, man? You're gonna pay me to fucking build you a shelter
We'll be heading home to this guy's house in the zombie apocalypse.
because I can't write a check, motherfucker. Who's gonna cash your check?
Yeah.
Fucking the guys from Walking Dead. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
you only
I'm
need a
gonna,
check.
I'm gonna use a bank book to fucking start a fire, bitch.
Yeah, well, you don't know
no,
that.
but no, you're right. They need to not to do so much invest, but do savings and do
Or just money management. Just like
yeah, just
They
money
don't have any of that in
management.
school.
Exactly,
They have
money,
nothing in
money.
That's
Man,
like-
dude, when I grew up I grew up in the West End. We had a class called Skills for Independent Living.
Never heard of that.
I think I remember that. I think I took that
We
too.
had that. And they showed us how to budget. If, like, for example, there was a lot of kids in our school that would drop out of school right after junior high. So 9 to 10, they'd drop out.
Oh, so they created this program.
So they created this program to teach you that if you were going to drop out, this is what you would have to do to fucking
Survive.
to pay your rent and to get food. Right, and they also went in and said, okay, so you make this much money. So I got taught to do my taxes. I don't know how to do my taxes now, but I got taught back then how to do it. Dude, one of the things I'm the worst at is saving money.
Well, that's the thing too, though. No,
It's-
that's,
I
I think
mean, mobile, yeah.
that's a skill that should be
A functional skill.
a taught
Yeah.
skill that you need to prepare.
Just to be alive. It's just
same
fucking
as
be there.
same as this, how to socialize with people.
Yeah.
Right.
How to
That's
cook a
another
meal.
skill.
How to
That's
cook
another
yourself a meal.
skill. Yeah.
How to cook yourself a meal,
You know?
even if it's fucking macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
How to cook yourself a meal, because a lot
Yeah,
of
they
people
ha-
don't even know how to fucking do that, man.
Basic life skills should be a
Yeah.
thing.
Well, that's the thing. If they taught social skills at an early age, then we wouldn't have bullying. We wouldn't have, because
Yeah.
kids would be taught empathy. They would be taught like this. You know, you don't know what another person's going through. You
It's
know,
a hard
Yeah.
thing. Though.
Yeah.
How do you
But-
teach something like that?
Well,
though?
kids are very, you know,
No, but
they
how, like,
absorb
how
shit
would-
really
how-
quick.
no, but how would you even teach that to a kid?
I don't think.
Other than interaction with like your parents.
Well,
bringing
I,
you
I
in
think
and-
I think that's exactly it, though. I think that's not something that should, like, empathy
That's a
shouldn't
hard
be
thing.
taught at
That's a
school.
hard thing.
It should be taught at home. But the
Well,
problem,
that's the thing
but the
is
problem
that-
is,
if it could be taught.
But you
I
need
would
to
do that.
teach it at school, because that's the only way you're
But
gonna
the
have
problem is-
a community.
that's what I mean.
Teaching,
The
right?
problem is that at home, even to this day. So here's the thing: I guarantee you, your daughter would be a lot better at math if there was kids in that class that were better at math.
Always.
You know what I'm saying?
Community, yeah.
So if those kids went home and asked their parents, and their parents helped them with their math homework,
Yeah.
your daughter would be better at math.
Yeah.
So your daughter not being as advanced in math is not your fault. It's
Yeah.
somebody else's parents' fault.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. I don't know about that either.
We can only move as fast as our slowest member, man.
Yeah, I agree, but it
Right.
also comes down to the system of like you're saying, the parents.
That's what I mean.
You know
It's the
the
parent.
par-
It's
the
the
parents
parent.
have to be able to bring these skills.
But that's the
No,
thing,
We're saying the
though,
same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. So at the end of the day, if all so we, all let's say it's hypothetical, we all three of us had kids. We were the only three kids in the class, right? And every day, all three of our kids got sent home math homework, and now I'm not gonna they say 1/3 of us didn't spend the time and teach the kid math.
I see what you mean.
Your kid would also be behind, and so would yours, because they can't move faster. Because my kid would be the slowest out of the three.
You're right. I agree. That's
Right?
why when you go to
So-
these other
so-
countries, yeah.
So exactly. So now what happens is that if we this and this is the reason why this comes back full circle. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I'll explain. Is exactly that you can't teach your kid to be empathetic when I'm not teaching him to be the same way. So if I'm raising a bully
Yeah.
and you're telling a kid to be kind and stuff,
Well, no, that's the thing.
it lowers the system.
No,
It
no,
fucks
but
it up.
that's
It slows it down.
that's what I mean is, like, when you're teaching your kid social skills, or the teachers, you're also teaching them how to manage home life, right? Like being abused or being whatever, how to, like, that. You know, a lot of kids think that, you know, there's a lot of, like, teen suicide because they think high school is the end of the fucking world, right?
yeah.
You know,
Well,
and then that
I peaked in high school.
Yeah, if you teach them that that's not the end, or how to deal with, you know, or like, this is not your life. This is not your life. Is not always gonna be like this, you know, right? So, and then they realize that, like, a lot of kids, they just need that reassurance that they can do. They have a better, you know, the future
is bright.
brighter. Yeah,
But we all do that though. We
Yeah.
all need that.
yeah. But that's what I'm
Everybody
saying. But
does.
we don't teach that to kids.
Yeah.
They're little kids, you know.
But I think that's a more of a home thing.
But you
too,
can,
right?
like,
But that's what I mean, though.
if your
This
parents are
is the
fucking
argument.
shitheads.
That's
this,
right, you know?
this is the
But
argument.
that-
This is
but that,
exactly
you
this
know?
is the argument.
Yeah.
The argument is exactly this: is that I can't teach a kid to be good at math if he's going home and nobody is helping him with the math.
or
Yeah.
or no one's helping with the empathy, or no one's
Yeah,
teaching
exactly.
the
So
stuff.
I can
It's-
teach.
it's-
I
that's
can
the hard
teach.
part.
I can teach a child empathy. You don't even need to teach a child empathy. Childs are empathetic to begin with. If you've ever seen a kid fall at a playground, kids don't run away from them. They go to make sure that they're okay. Kids are empathetic.
No, my kids will laugh at.
I know,
my
because
kids
your
laugh at it.
dad's a fucking asshole. This brings me back to the fucking conversation. No, but that's what I mean. Like you can everything that you teach at school needs to be reinforced at home, and if it's not, it's going to be lost. You know what I mean? That's why
I don't
kids
know.
take
I don't know
homework
about that.
home,
I don't know
man.
about that. I don't know about that. I think kids.
Oh.
I think kids. I think kids gravitate to those that they feel a connection to. You know what I mean? Whether it's a teacher,
That
But where does that connection
Well,
come
that's
from?
one of the
It's
funniest things.
comes from empathy. Comes from
No, it comes from your
like,
parents and the people you're
That's
around.
one of the funny
yeah,
things.
but if your parents aren't there for you, or they're
Right,
shitheads, right?
you go to
Yeah.
the
Well,
bullying and you go
well,
to everything else.
So here's a funny thing: is that everybody says kids are naturally empathetic, naturally not racist, naturally.
Yeah, you said that,
I
yeah.
know. Some very wise man once said, no, but they say that kids are naturally like not racist and stuff like that. That's fucking complete bullshit, man. I'm sorry. Have you not seen kids gravitate to the kids that are exactly like them?
Kids are not born racist.
But yeah, they're not.
No,
they're not
I
born
know.
that way.
But
That's 'cause their parents were that way.
but they gravitate to other kids that are like them.
Absolutely, humans do in general.
Yeah.
They gravitate
So
to-
I hate as much as you like to say, "Oh, kids aren't racist." No, they're technically a little bit, but they do that. I think they do that out of is a survival function.
Yeah, it's subconscious. They're
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Doing it because
They're not
of that.
doing it out of hate.
What racism is?
Yeah,
I don't think that's
racism
a
is hate.
subconscious thing.
Racism is hate.
That's a blatant thing to do.
But kids do technically do that.
Yeah, we got another message.
It's part nature, part nurture. Some people are just assholes, even if they aren't raised by assholes. That's true, but you have a better chance of being an asshole if you were raised by an asshole.
Yeah, I don't even know if that is 100%. I don't think anybody's born an asshole.
No,
I don't think anyone's just
some
born
people,
and then if you
no,
just-
no. There's some people that are born assholes. Let's fucking face it. There's some people that, yeah.
Well, other than this guy here,
I'm right here, dude. No,
but
I was raised by an asshole.
this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. Is that what the Einstein thing?
Geeky Gamma Girl, thanks for your input, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you.
Yeah, man. Thanks. We really enjoy when we get this kind of stuff. That way we can, you guys always take part in these conversations, eh? I don't know how lagged it is when you guys write something and we talk about it, but we encourage this, eh? We want you guys to do this. And Beastly, hello to you too. My son is so racist and judgmental. My son could barely string words together and pointed to a fat lady and called her a bus.
Really?
What was her beeper going off? Guess it because she was going backwards.
Ooh.
Beep beep.
No, but
beep.
I don't know you, but I guess maybe he's been around or she's been around. I don't know. Is that just a thing?
But see, that's the thing.
Well,
like,
the fat
okay,
thing's different.
But here's the thing, though. So I had this conversation before, and what happened was because my son started using certain words that he shouldn't have been using. He started
Did
calling.
you get that from other kids then?
Yes, he was
That's the
picking it
thing.
up from other kids.
So that's the difference. yeah.
But so as a parent, though, you need to kind of steer them in the right direction.
And it's a very tricky thing to do, too.
So for example, say, for me, the conversation was, listen, in front of your friends, it's funny as long as you're not making fun of somebody. It's funny. Be funny. It's fine. If you're making fun of somebody, then it's not funny anymore. You're losing it. You know what I mean?
you're losing it.
So then teach him in context. The same thing with swear words, right? Like I have no problems with my kids swearing in context. It has to be in context. If he's around his mother, grandmother,
It's different.
if grandfather, stuff like that, don't you ever fucking use a swear word. Ever.
Yeah, of course.
If it's you and me and we're out in the middle of nowhere and you fucking drop something on your foot and go, "Oh shit," I'm gonna laugh and be like, "Good on you, buddy." But if you're gonna, you know what I mean, like it's got to be in context. So teach to swear in context. Dude, my kid had a moment where he was bullying. Like he was bullying somebody. I literally fucking ripped him a new one just because I found out that he was being an active bully. One of the things that I could never stand for in my life was being a bully or people that were being bullied.
Yeah, I was never that. I was always against the bullies too. I was
Yeah.
always standing up for the weaker people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's
But-
very hard to discipline the you out of your child, though. It is the hardest thing that you're ever going to have to do. But as you are already trying to teach them to not inherit your fears, you also have to make sure that you're teaching them not to inherit the negative traits that you've accomplished, that
Wow,
you've
well
kind of removed
said.
over the world.
Well
because
said.
because we've all no,
We
it's
all
true,
have our
though.
own bad things.
Yeah, we all have our own bad habits. We're all afraid of certain things. But because I'm afraid of something, I'm not going to make my kid afraid of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So because I'm an asshole doesn't mean he has to be an asshole.
and that's also part of evolution, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of evolution.
So for me, one of the biggest things with my kids is that I had a fucked up upbringing. I go through a lot of mental things because of my upbringing, but they're my salvation.
Yeah,
My
for sure.
salvation is never gonna, my happiness, I'm never gonna be a whole person. That's already been taken from me.
Right.
But my kids have that opportunity to be what I wanted to be
Sure.
a whole person. So I need to filter my life and let them see the other side of
Well,
things.
you got to pick the things that you don't want to pass on. You got
Exactly.
to take those things
Yeah.
out and try to make them the best person for the
Yes,
future.
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what I've
and,
noticed.
And then at one point, it's going to be hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard and it's difficult, especially with what I'm going through right now. is very hard. But at one point, I'm gonna look back at my children, and think that that's what I accomplished. That was what I set out to do, and I accomplished it.
Yeah.
That they had a better life and are more formed as people than I will ever be.
Which is a very rewarding thing in the end. Which
Yeah.
I think that in the generation like my dad, like we were talking about this before, his first generation here, and my mom, she's obviously been here. She's native, so she's been here for a long time.
She had reservations.
She had reservations. Yeah, she had reservations in Canada. She had meetings here, but just the upbringing from him, like how he was raised and how his parents did it. I don't think they knew what was right and wrong. They just did those things, and I don't think my dad really knew what right and wrong either. And he wasn't obviously the most perfect person in my eyes. There's a lot of things I would change for my children,
Dude, I'm a father now. There's things that I wish I could change.
But I think that the things that I will change, I will know what's good or bad,
Well,
and I'll look at it and be able to
well,
go, those are the bad things. I'm picking that. I don't think he knows the things, but there'll be things my kids are going to say
Yeah.
that know that I'm doing as a dick.
Well, no,
So,
well, that's the thing. You have to realize. You have to realize what, like me and my dad, we didn't get along at all. Right? Me growing up, we like I fucking hated my dad growing up.
I
But
think
then,
every kid
yeah,
goes
but
through a
then
stage.
as you get older,
You have to.
You start to realize what they went through and how they were taught a specific thing, right? And this is like you have to work hard, you have to fucking work to the bone, and that's the only way you're gonna make it in life,
Yeah.
And then there was never, but now, in our generation, you still work hard, but you don't have to kill yourself. And then to them, and then when they look
That's
at
lazy,
us,
that's lazy.
right? They look at us,
No, it's true.
right?
Yeah,
They look
yeah.
at us, and we're like,
That's
they
lazy. I know
feel
you-
like, oh, you have it so easy, and then we look at our kids, oh, you guys have it so
Dude,
easy, right?
So I literally had it out with my dad at the beginning of the week because I have to get a TOD for a scooter that he bought a couple months ago, and I had the TOD, but when I switched jobs, I lost it. Right, and my dad every day is hounding me. Hey, dude, man, did you get that paper? Did you get that paper? I'm like, motherfucker, do you not know what I'm dealing with right now? Like, do you not where the fuck do you think that I have the mental capacity to sit there and go, oh yeah, wait a minute, let me call up fucking so and so and get that TOD when I'm fucking dealing with all the shit that I've been dealing with.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, buddy, do you not fucking see the shit that I'm like? Do you not understand like what's happening right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
no,
I think at the
But
same
that's the
time,
thing that you won't do with your kid.
yeah, but the thing is that like at that time, like for me, like I don't need him to sit there going, hey, you need to do this, you should do this. Why aren't you doing this? Just relax. I'll do it, but let me gain my footing before you start putting shit on top of my shoulders
no, you're
again.
just lazy, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking this
You're just
guy,
lazy,
man.
man.
Lazy guy. He fucking woke up half an hour before he got here.
Yeah. Well, we'll always be lazy, I think, in our parents.
Well, that's the
lives.
thing.
No,
Like,
exactly.
I could never be at home because if I was at home watching TV and my dad would come downstairs and I'd be watching, what are you doing? Why are you sitting there? You're just sitting there. Oh, this is what you do all day? Play video games and watch
Because he was
TV.
watching black porn. This guy
Right?
again.
Yeah.
That's all you do all day. Go fucking. Why aren't you studying? Why aren't you fucking doing this and that? And it's like,
Yeah.
hey man, do you want me like? I'm not fucking. This isn't fucking Asia. We're in Canada now, so fucking.
Listen, you go sow your baseball
But then that's
mitts
the
over
thing.
there.
Like, my dad, when he was going to school, he didn't get a fucking lunch money. He had to go fucking fish for his food for lunch. He had to like, walk. Like they had to tell the story of like, I had to walk 10
Yeah.
kilometers. He literally had to walk 10 kilometers.
Well,
like,
both
ways.
Yeah,
Yeah, uphill,
through the
both ways.
jungle.
Yeah.
Through the jungle.
The other thing
Shit
too
like
is
that.
it's not nowadays. It's not work harder. It's just work smarter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the tech and stuff. And I think even going to the for kids going to school and all the education stuff. And we've talked about this before. I think technology. One thing that's going to be good about it, it has a chance to save a lot of these things.
Well, that's the thing. Like now, I drive. Like I can't imagine not driving my kids to school and picking them up. But me, when I was, my dad never.
Dude.
Elementary. I walked to school.
I literally,
you know.
it's not safe anymore. Though.
I literally had this conversation with my mom. I'm like, one thing that I think my parents forget, and one of the things that I always bring up, and you know what, I'm dealing with like I said, my mental health stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna allow myself to like kind of go off on these kind of things every once in a while, guys. So if it's too downy, just let me know. But
fine.
no,
Fine,
fine,
but
that's fine,
yeah,
that's
exactly. But the thing is this: is that dude, for the first between the ages of 6 to about 11, 12, I was by myself, me.
Oh yeah, me too.
By myself until about dude, school finished at what, 3:30? A good 5 hours of every day I was completely alone.
Dude, you were by yourself.
Completely alone.
When I was in elementary, I had when summer holidays. You know what I did for summer holidays? I babysat my baby sisters
Yeah.
through the whole. I wasn't allowed to go hang. You know, I look out the window and my friends are riding their bikes and shit, and me, I'm at home. Taking care of literally warming up milk,
They knock on
fucking
the door.
changing diapers and shit like that. Yeah, man.
They knock on the door
I
and be
wasn't
like-
allowed to go outside. I had to take care of myself.
I was
wanna-
gonna get
you
so-
know,
You get one of these, you go. And Super's like, oh, they're finally coming to get me. They're like, hey, dude,
Oh, yeah.
my cousin's here. Can you borrow your bike?
Yeah, stuff like
no, man.
No,
Like,
dude,
at an early age,
but-
9 years old, 10 years old, I had to take care of two
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah. No, the thing,
Yeah.
like, for me, is like I pretty much raised myself until I was about 12, man.
Oh yeah.
Right, like,
Mhm.
and one of the things, like, that's one of, and as shitty or as fucking as what's it called, cliche as it sounds to say, but that's one of my traumas, dude. One of my traumas is raising myself, not knowing what to do. Like, I had nothing to do. I literally sat at home, did an absolute.
Oh, man, you-
I said fire to a carpet one time. Nobody even knows because I was so smart that I fucking hit it with the couch.
Dude, you know.
So smart. Dude, so smart. They didn't find
Hit
it
it
until,
with the couch.
Dude, I literally moved the couch over. They fucking changed the couch. And
They're
they're
gonna
like,
say
oh,
you changed the carpet. I was
no,
like,
it's-
fuck.
no, dude, I blame my dad because back at that point, my dad used to smoke and he used to fall asleep on the couch a lot. So I'm like, oh, my probably one of the cigarettes.
Yeah, no, like that's like I've had a bad trauma, like childhood too. I could tell you a million stories that no one wants to
hid,
listen to, but
dude, I hid from the cops.
The time your uncle
yeah.
uncle came over.
yeah, no, not
Sing into this microphone. That's why you can't sing either.
not
Dude,
trauma like that.
I
way.
hid from the cops like 4 times because they literally, like, people in the apartment we lived in would call the cops to tell them that I was by myself, and I wasn't allowed to. Like, they'd literally knock on the door and go, "Hey, is there anybody in there?" And I look through the people and be like, "Oh shit!" And like hide, dude. I wouldn't even. So we had a sofa bed. I would hide inside the sofa bed.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because I'm fucking Mexican. We know how to hide our shit, bro.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're at 10:38. We've been streaming for 2 hours. I don't know about you guys if you guys want to keep going, but
That's
I have to bounce out.
Well, we could wrap her up too and just
Whatever,
wind
man.
her down. Let's see.
Yeah.
Give it 30 seconds though, so if there's any messages coming in,
Yeah.
'cause it's a delay.
We appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. We gotta-
Dude, we appreciate the input, man. It fucking really, like, dude, we really spent the last, half an hour, 45 minutes talking about with Geeky Gamma Girl here.
Yeah, it was awesome. I
Yeah.
appreciate
She
everyone
literally
chiming in.
chimed in really well here.
Yeah.
We got a strong
Step up your
following.
game, fucking Becky.
We've had a strong following on Twitch. So everyone on Twitch, thanks
Yeah,
very much.
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
please, if you're not following us, please give us
Yeah,
a follow.
man. Make sure you follow us. Make
appreciate
sure
it,
you
yeah.
you
Every
hit,
Sundays.
hit the bell so you guys get notified when we go live every Sunday. We're gonna start constantly at 8:30 now because I have a curfew.
Vic has to.
I have to be home by I want to be home by 10:30 because nothing good happens after 12.
no, we've talked about that.
Yeah, so in my plans of getting my mental health back in check, I'm the one that's gonna fucking. You were the youngest of 7 kids, and I was still put in charge of cleaning and making dinner. You must really clean good and make dinner good.
It's wifey. It's
So
wifey
say it again.
material there.
What was that? Say
Yeah, the youngest of 7 kids, and was still put in charge of cleaning and making dinner.
Wow. Yeah.
See, you know, so you know
Wait,
what,
were they?
So then, you know exactly where we're coming from.
you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
then,
you know
right?
exactly where we're coming
Yeah,
from.
Yeah.
But she was the youngest though,
Yeah.
cooking for the older ones.
For little ones, yeah.
You guys were the oldest, weren't you?
I was oldest.
I was the
yeah.
oldest.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest, and I didn't do shit.
Dude, I was
My
the
sisters
but
did
I was-
everything.
So I was the
But they
young,
were-
I was the oldest, but there was nobody there. Like, my brother was in daycare, bro.
Oh fuck.
I was literally just me.
Well, good on you. Fuck. Yeah. Good.
I'm
on
surprised it
you.
didn't burn anything down. I'm like, dude, I'm amazed that I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Good on you. Good
You
on
guys are good to go?
I'm good to go.
right,
Thanks
guys.
everyone. If you could subscribe, follow, and everybody, and we'll catch you
Yeah.
next
Every
week.
Sunday is
Sounds
8:30, please.
Yeah.
Do our email.
Come
if you
join us
want.
again.
Yeah, emails at thinking out loud peg city one word at gmail.com.
Thinking out loud, Peg City.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'll just say it again.
Send nudes.
Okay.
Send
Sounds
nudes.
good. That being said, at the same time, Matthias and Mila, I love you guys.
Yeah. Nicole,
Love
I
you
love
guys
you.
too.
Love you, Nicole. I love Matthias. Yeah, I love them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, peace, guys.
Peace.
A peace.
Peace.